Darkness is your ally. You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but blinding.
Пытался помешать нам, а тем более создать угрозы для нашей страны, для нашего народа, должны знать, что ответ России будет незамедлительным и приведет вас к таким последствиям, с которыми вы в своей истории.
Yeah, man, we are live. It's Saturday night live stream. Get it off your chest. Tonight is a special broadcast. It's about the Russian invasion of the Ukraine. And we're going to get deep in this tonight. We're going to talk about misinformation. We're going to talk about, this is actually, we're going into day 4 of the invasion. Just a lot of things we're going to talk about this. And just in case anybody didn't know, I am Italian and I'm also half Russian. So I'm putting that out there. My name tonight, that is Anthony Bruno. That is in Ukrainian right there. So what you're seeing is my name in Ukrainian. But I want to welcome my first panel guest tonight. That's Frank Pesci. Frank, how you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm good, Tony. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. Yeah, we're gonna get deep tonight on this, and I think we're gonna talk about a lot of things that I think things that have been going through my mind, things I've seen on the news. I think some truths and some not so true things we can say, but I do want to talk about Putin and why I think he's a leader in his country. We might not agree with him, but he is a leader. I think that he shows strength, which obviously our leader doesn't now, but I think everybody is coming to that realization. So, but let me see who was all in the chat here. We got General Fook Thyself. Good to see you, man. I'm guessing that's I'm not sure who that is. I know he's got a wrench. Maybe that's Gonzo. I don't know if that's Primal or maybe it's Woody. I don't know who that is. But yeah, English with Mr. Finn. Good to see you. Uncle Guns. Peg Bell. Good to see you. David Little. Good to see you. Tuesday. Good to see you. Who else do we have here? I don't want to miss anybody. Anyways.
Tony, I will be right back.
Okay. Absolutely. But yeah, we lost Frank for a minute, but oh, it looks like Shift is coming on. I'm going to bring Shift on real quick here. Shift,
you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah,
perfect.
You're live. Nice. Glad you're on here. I'm sure you're going to have some input on tonight's show because one of my questions is about the money, you know. So we're going to talk about the whole situation in the Ukraine and Russia. So let me well, Frank will be back. Frank actually has a fire. He was in his station, so maybe we'll have him back here shortly after he puts out a fire. So but let me just trying to look at the chat here. So but anyways, yeah, let's talk about it. Shift, how you doing tonight?
Well, it's kind of it's a sad situation what's going on because it reminds me of like the ex-Yugoslav war and the scene like, you know, the kids and going in the mothers like going in the buses and the guys are, you know, they're being separated from their families and it's just it's brutal. You know, it's definitely the kind of depressing. It brings back those bad memories. You know, and anyone like cheering on war and all this stuff, and it's just disgusting, man. It's really disgusting.
I mean, one of the things that I was thinking about earlier is actually about war, and I think what the TV does, it tends to make us frightened of war. And I know war is hell. I mean, that's a phrase, and war is hell. But this is what happens in war. And I was thinking about it. I'm like, is it because of news broadcasting And because of the images we're seeing, do you think it makes people weaker or stronger? You get what I'm saying? I mean, war is war. There is
Mhm.
no such thing as a good war.
Yeah, both there's only both sides will lose, you know. The only thing is who lose less, you know, in war, you
Yeah.
know. And I think we don't really know what the true story is of
Mhm.
what's really going on over there because there's like a lot of propaganda on both sides, you know. So I think it's clear to have a clear level head and not really watch a lot of the news, especially video clips and stuff. Because if we learn anything of March of 2020, you know, the news now is not really our friend anymore. You know,
Mhm.
they inject a lot of negativity and you know, we have a bias towards, you know, negativity. We center our whole thinking around negativity and you know, and unfortunately it also has to it ties in with everything, you know. Once we turn into negativity, then it affects our livelihood, our health, our wealth, all these other things. And you know, this even seeing those even seeing one video clip, it just brought back memories of like bad, you know, those bad war
Mhm.
times, you know. And it's awful. It's awful. Like I had to like get myself a drink or something, you know.
Yeah, one thing I do tell people to do, I know during the peaceful protests, is what I told people back then is to turn the talking heads off. If you're going to watch the TV, look at the videos itself. Don't listen to what they're saying. Shut the sound off and just watch the images. Because what I've noticed is I have seen more things through the images than listening to the talking heads narrate.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
You get a different perspective when you shut the sound off and just have the TV on and looking at the videos. I don't care if it's on YouTube or whatever. Just look at what's going on, because what I noticed, you get rid of that other sense of that hearing and somebody trying to program you into what you're watching. Watch it for yourself. Don't listen to it. That's one thing that I like to do. Like I have the TV on right now. I'm just kind of looking at all the images, but the sound is off, and it does make a big difference. So try that. You know, people in the chat, give it a shot, man. It's awakening. It's eye opening. Just don't listen. Just watch. Don't listen. So that's
Yeah,
just a
you know,
little tip.
like I say in my like my in my videos, like the news is like they're basically prostitutes. You know, they only get paid to put out, and we have a negativity bias. You know, so
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it's really best. Yeah, like I made that mistake of this. Even watching that video, it just brought back all those memories, and I was like, oh my goodness, I had to like this. It ruined my whole day, honestly.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
let's first talk about why did Russia invade the Ukraine? Obviously, there's reasons that we don't know, but I think the main reason is I was talking to somebody earlier about basically
Mhm.
setting up for war against us. It's a strategy. I don't know what anybody thinks about that. So, getting that landmass. I do have a timeline I want to read, but I don't really have any clear and concise reasons why Russia invaded. Obviously, it used to be part of the Soviet Union.
Mhm.
So, how about your take on that?
I I I don't really think so because you know they have a very long standing history over there,
Mhm,
and I'm not gonna you know call myself a geopolitical expert on this,
mhm.
you know, and I really don't think so. I think it's just the media is trying to hype up like you know make it even more super big deal. You know, I know there's like what is it like there's some I'm not really too sure on it, you know. I really think it's just they're making a big deal out of a, you know, out of something like, you know, Putin definitely doesn't want Ukraine in the NATO. And in a way, the world leaders now, it's kind of like they're playing a game of chess, you know, and it's really sad because it's dealing with people's lives. But I think also the biggest thing is that U.S. interests, they don't want the oil pipeline connected with Russia, with Germany, you know, because if you establish that, then you establish commerce, you establish a relationship, and then that will weaken the US influence over Europe, right? And then, but in a way, it's like when you're dealing with a guy, a Putin, right? You know, this guy, there's nothing that, if you go against him, he just kills you, right? That's how he operates. So it's a really tricky situation, really, really tricky. But I just,
I mean, it can, people, I think especially in the United States, you're not in the US right now, but
Mhm.
people in the United States are so comfortable. Could you imagine, like, basically think about if somebody invaded Texas? That'd be kind of the equivalent of what's going on there right now. I
Yeah,
mean,
like,
kind
yeah.
of we'll say the geographical location. It'd be like Texas being invaded. That's how close it is. I mean, can you imagine that? You can't. I don't think people can imagine war in my lifetime or in anybody's lifetime who's watching in the United States here. But there's things that can happen that can trigger that. I'm going to play this clip. I don't know if anybody saw it. It's a real quick one, but this is pretty brutal. It's Putin. I'm just going to go ahead and play it.
Пытался помешать нам, а тем более создать угрозы для нашей страны, для нашего народа, должны знать, что ответ России будет незамедлительным и приведет вас к таким последствиям, с которыми вы в своей истории.
Such consequences that you have never faced in your history. I mean, that's a bold statement right there, man.
Yeah.
I believe that's from Al Jazeera. I think that's where I got that from.
Yeah.
So,
he's not going to back down. Slavs, they don't back down, and it's a good thing that people didn't overreact to what he had to say. They did not, it's very, very careful because we have nukes, right? And all it takes is just one nuke, and then that's it, right? But I think from an alien point perspective, there's no way it's a low probability that they will ever, this looks like it could be a hot war, but to be honest, I think it's all about, if I look from a monetary aspect, and I kind of hate like talking about this because it's kind of,
I got that in my notes because one of the things I have is war is a money machine.
Yeah. And
that's in my notes. In fact, I want to ask you right now, since you're the money guy, is how does the U.S. profit and people in the U.S. profit from war in Russia and the Ukraine?
Well, just think about, if you're going to, in every war, who finances the war? Who finances the weapons and stuff, right? And this allows, and usually it's the bankers, and the Federal Reserve, the central bankers, they have tremendous power. Fiat currency, you look throughout history, it's just they profit on both sides of the trade. Like, I'm hearing from other traders that they're having some pretty big arms deals across the globe, and of course that allows the governments to print more and more money. You see how fast like the narrative shifted from Omicron to like now the Russia Ukraine. It's so quickly. And we were also talking about inflation. It's like crisis after crisis after crisis. You're being trained to like move on, keep doing that, while in the background they're printing more and more money, and they don't want to stop it.
One of my other notes is gonna be they. I hear a lot of people say they. Okay. Another thing, it's funny because I was hoping you were going to come on, because I do have another note, is that the Russian banks are blocked from the SWIFT. What is the SWIFT?
The SWIFT system is basically like, international money exchange. And that's how like banks, move money around internationally. And if they block it, I really don't think it's going to really, the Russians in general are used to sanctions like this, like back in 2014 with Obama, he did heavy sanctions. But the thing about the Russians and their history, they're used to very harsh conditions, So in a way that might lead, the Russians are probably just building their own international system anyway, like how they could do money exchange, Like, I feel like in a way, I'm not a Putin lover or anything, but it's more of like the countries are playing chess right now. And especially like in China, it's like kind of secretly supporting them in a way. And also it's kind of like also making us weak as well. America. It's kind of like showing like, look, you guys are no better than us. Like, you guys get out of our way. Like, you can't mess with us, you know. And but it's disgusting, you know. I even hate bringing up this because this is dealing with people's lives, man. This is like families, like kids, mothers. It's you know, that's the fact that men like 18 to 60 can't even leave if they don't want to fight. You know, it's just like, you know, wars are just a brutal thing. I don't wish you guys should be grateful that you live in a country you don't have to deal with war, you know, like, especially if you weren't born in the Balkans or like, you know, during those, or even like in the Middle East or anything like that. You will see things, you hear things that you wish you never did, and it just makes you greatly appreciate about life, you know, just live each day as your last, you know. And unfortunately, like, I don't want to name names and stuff because the people at the top, you know, it's more kind of conspiratorial, and real we don't really know who they are, honestly. But all I see is that how I know that it's not really going to be, I hope to God it doesn't turn into a super big hot war. I think that's a low probability. But the way I saw the markets react, right? When I saw that it just went down that morning, it was just getting clobbered. Everyone was panicking. And next thing you know, Biden was just talking, and then he's like, "Oh, and we're just doing more and more sanctions." Boom, the market just rallied, like went up 1,000 points out of nowhere. That is unreal. This is the Dow Jones, S&P 500, the Nasdaq. These indices, they're not supposed to move like Bitcoin. This is crazy stuff.
That's a lot of money moving at one
a
time.
lot of money. And you know, at that time, institutions were buying at that point. You see, this is what they do. Whenever there's a crisis, they take the opportunity and seize it, you know, because they know
Again, you know, I get triggered by that word.
Oh,
Because
yeah. Well,
I do
the
hear that
bankers,
a lot.
bankers, institutions, and stuff like that. Yeah.
I got, you know, it's funny because, like I say, I always take a lot of notes, and we got outnumbered here. He says distraction, distraction, distraction. That's one of my notes. Is what are we being distracted from? In other words, what is this? Why do they want us to focus on this now? What is going on behind our backs? And I think that's something that it always conspiratorial, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
So what is going? So if we know that, everybody says it's a distraction. So if we know it's a distraction, shouldn't we be looking behind our backs? What's the distraction? You know,
The fact that they keep it's as simple as that sometimes, and that's what makes it so insane. Is the fact they keep printing more money. Actually, the quantitative easing, we're at $30 trillion in debt. That is insanity. Like, and this allows the Federal Reserve, the central bankers, this gives them a green light. Even if they, you know how everyone's going crazy about inflation and all that. Well, this allows them to say, "Oh, we don't really need to do a big, massive rate hike. That means increase the interest rate because of the situation and what's going on across the world. We have to be sensitive towards the situation." This gives them the green lights, and markets in general during war, it's very profitable. It's very good for business. It's very good for bankers, you know, to finance on both sides of the trade. And I'm not saying all bankers are bad. I'm just saying the ones that control our money. We have to be very vigilant about that. We don't know who they are. They hide behind, you know, like the Federal Reserve is a private corporation. And we don't know the private shareholders. Maybe I can give out names, but to be honest, that's not really the point. The real point is the fact is, why are we so much in debt? Why are we, you know, if Russia really wanted to make an oil pipeline with Germany, just to establish commerce, why are we getting involved in this? Why are we blocking it? You know, and this ties to, you got to look at the history, which I'm trying to read up on.
Jay Neptune, he has a good point here, and he says this Russia versus Ukraine has nothing to do with what's going on here. I tend to have that same thought. I think it's bigger than here. Everybody tends to think that what's going on in the rest of the world always has to do with us, but it doesn't. I don't think it does. I really don't. I was trying to look past and say, okay, yeah, it's a distraction. So what am I being distracted from is the question. So.
Well, usually when it's like this, that's why I sense something. The way I'm talking like as a trader, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is setting up for a big green move with all the indices, in my honest opinion. All right, this is just my observation. It's a speculation, but usually what happens is that sets up for disaster usually in the fall, because usually in markets when something historical happens, something big happens, it always happens around the fall time. And I talked to a lot of smart money, big traders, and they sense the same thing. They have a lot of contacts, and they say, look, this is like big arms deals around the world, and good thing. I say the good thing about it is that at least we're not, they're not using nukes and stuff like that. That is always the danger. Always, that is like always because once nuke flies, it's game over for the whole world.
We got
What's up, boyos?
Good to see you.
Hey, Woody.
Well,
Hey, good to see you too, Tony. It's been a while.
Danya, comrade.
Yes, that's for Don. Yeah. I think that's a goodbye, though. the greeting is kind of long. But that's for Danya. I think it's a goodbye. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, welcome. Yeah. So we were talking about distractions. One of the things, you guys, is that I don't think, in fact, before this happened, there's only one person I know of that actually said and told me there would be boots on the ground. Nobody ever thought that. It was a big shock to people that the troops actually invaded Kiev. It was a shock to people. I guess they just expected an air attack, things like that. So to seeing actual Russian troops invading that's a heavy duty show of force. I mean, this is like guerrilla combat. This isn't just an attack. And what's his name? Zelensky, I think the U.S. asked him if he wanted to leave. And he said, no, I don't want to leave. You can send ammo, though. I mean, that's pretty powerful. You know what I mean? And it seems like the Ukrainians are just, they were handing out guns. I'm getting the information I'm getting. I don't know how accurate it is. Do we really all know how accurate the information is? No, I don't think so. But it looks like, the Ukrainians are they're ready to fight. They're just ready to fight. What it made me think of is of our soy boy system here. If somebody was to hand somebody a gun, what would they do with it? They'd probably look down the barrel like, hey, what's this? They
probably shit their pants too.
Well, yeah, exactly. So,
yeah, in war, there's no time for that. It's like they're probably gonna cower away, honestly, like my father, he taught me how to hold a gun. He taught me how to hunt.
Giving out class 3 firearms like candy. Absolutely.
Yeah. If you got to fight, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. I want to go. I got some notes here, you guys, and I want you guys to comment in the chat too. I'm going to read a timeline from 1991, and this is going to put everything in context and what's going on. I think this is important to read this just to give us a timeline of Russia and the Ukraine. So the current Russia-Ukraine crisis centers on the status of Crimea and parts of Donbass, which are internationally recognized as part of Ukraine. So the timeline starts in 1991. Ukraine officially declares independence and the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Amid this dissolution of the Soviet Union, February 2014, Russia invades and subsequently annexes the Crimean Peninsula from Ukraine, marking the beginning of the Russo-Ukrainian War. April 2014, pro-Russian separatists take control of the Donbass, am I saying that right? Donbass region of eastern Ukraine, kicking off the war in Donbass. February, March 2021, thousands of military personnel amassed near the Russo-Ukrainian border, generating international concern over a potential invasion. Now, we started seeing this last year. June, troops are partially removed. September, this is 2021, Russian troops build up again with 100,000 troops surrounding Ukraine on 3 sides. January 2022, NATO members, including the U.S., begin providing military aid and weapons to the Ukraine. February 21st, 2022, Russian President Vladimir Putin recognizes the independence of 2 republics in the Donbass region of Ukraine. Let me see. Russian troops and tanks moved into the region, so-called peacekeeping mission. February 2022, U.S. calls Russia movement into Donbass region of Ukraine an invasion. Russian President Vladimir Putin, this is February 22nd again, Vladimir Putin is granted government authorization to use military force outside of Russia. February 23rd, Ukrainian President Zelensky pleads for peace but vows to defend Ukraine if attacked. Ukrainian airports in Kharkiv, Dnipro, and I can't even say the last one, Zaporizhzhia, are closed. U.S. Pentagon spokesperson John Kirby says that a full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine is imminent. February 24th, Russia invades Ukraine. Ukrainian President Zelensky reports at least 137 people killed and 316 injured. So that's a quick timeline of what's going on. So that'll put things in context. Anybody you guys want to talk on this? Go for it.
Like I heard from this is like a smart money trader that I know, and I was like, he got me thinking.
What's up, David?
Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry.
What's up,
Go ahead,
David?
Chip.
So he basically said that with that move, we talk like this all the time. Like he said, basically it's game over from a long-term trend perspective for the Western world because Putin pulled a move straight out of Machiavelli's playbook in recognizing the disputed territories of Donbass, etc. He has reduced the odds of war by 90%. He has given NATO and U.S. the bird. He views all politicians the same, that they're the corrupt humans and they're below slugs. But in his point of view, he said the recent move, Putin has virtually guaranteed that the Ukraine will never be allowed into NATO and possibly never into the EU, and also marks the top for NATO and the EU. And he said, basically, look at it like this. He said Western nations are on par with the Chinese government and other dictator-ruled nations in the ways they handled and continue to handle even the serum issue as well. He's basically said everyone should be allowed to decide if they want to put something in their bodies, whether it's good or bad. However, with the serum, the Western world has embraced.
That's a direct from Putin. That's a quote from
Putin? This is his opinion. This is his opinion. Okay. He gave me his perspective, so I just want to share it. He said the Western world has embraced the Gestapo regime motto. It says, "Do what we tell you, or you are going to get hammered." Soon, he basically said, soon China and Russia, they will use this information to show that at least they are consistent, while the West talks about freedom, but does everything to control the individual's freedom. It is no longer about the efficiency of the serum, but about freedom of choice. And in that sense, the West has failed tremendously. In his point of view, he said this will provide China, Russia, Turkey with the fodder to state they are not so bad after all. China is supporting Russia covertly, but very soon they may change to overt support, and then they will both mount massive assaults at the fabric of what the West stands for. So, and he also said that they're working aggressively behind the scenes and maybe creating an alternative system to SWIFT. And it's not only a matter of time before they come up with a viable option. So he basically just said it's time to read up on the decline of the Roman Empire. This is America.
So alternative for SWIFT basically would have a competition. Yes. So now there would be countries lining up to do more business. And you know what competition means? Means better trade, better. It basically, if you need to have competition for better pricing, better management, for even how do you say, having a better workers assessment, everything. And that's actually great. if that's the case.
Yeah, it basically shows that our influence over the world is decreasing, which is kind of sad, because
Absolutely.
It's not sad. It's
I mean,
not
like
sad.
like in a way, like American democracy, freedom, and all these other things. Like, of course, who doesn't
Illusion.
love Constitution, all that? Who doesn't what the founding fathers stood for, right? They were like even That's what I mean. That's what I mean. But
Oh,
now,
okay.
but
Because
now,
when you say the modern, the modern cultural influence that we have over the world, it's nothing to what it started off with.
yeah, now it's like, holy crap, we're turning into
Circus.
a Gestapo type fascist regime. It's crazy.
So one more thing I want to add too, right? That as of now, Latvia, Sweden's prime minister, I think, supported, even after Putin saying that he shall bring the wrath never to be seen before, right? Even after that, the Swedish president, the female president, she I think supplied arms to Ukrainians. The NATO, I think Canada, they're all in NATO. Latvia and another European country, they have troops ready to be deployed if I guess basically on orders, right? So I don't know. There might be a. I hope there's nothing outside or a next coming of the Third World War, because there's a video by I think memologist. He made a video that in October of last year, Alex Jones predicted a war coming, and he said that this is going to be the pre before World War III. Now I know I'm not saying that it could be that possibility, but I don't get why other NATO countries, despite it being only between Ukraine and Russia, that why do they have their troops ready to be deployed,
Well, I
right?
think.
And also,
Well,
one more thing I'll add, that they also I think enlisted men between ages of 18 to 60, that they're not allowed to leave the country. So
That was
I don't know what
ridiculous.
they're about to start. Yeah, N. Chronic made a video about that. So I don't know what's going to start, but hopefully it's nothing major.
Yeah, let's
Well,
hope not.
if I'm correct, isn't there about 25, 26 countries that border Russia?
Yeah.
And I think 5 or 6 of them are part of NATO, if I'm correct on that.
Yeah, but this proves like how useless
This is
kind
quite
of
a comment right here,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
This comment.
Ironically, how it looks. No, you're kind of wrong, actually, because Putin was actually in the World Economic Forum. He's one of the young members, and Zelensky. So guess what? They don't give a shit about us. They don't give a shit.
We're
All right?
considered mice.
These are banker wars, man. Banker wars, man. Every war, someone's got to finance.
And we don't benefit. We and the Republic of Ukraine and Russia, we don't benefit 1 cent from this either.
Yeah, this is insanity, man, and that's why I say this is all to prop up our U.S. markets. Allow the Fed to keep with the money printing. They have to, because guess what? Without the money printing,
I mean, I think we're in this era. We're tend to believe that war is always a money machine. Do you guys think that's always the case? I mean, I know it makes people money, but war isn't always to make money. I think a byproduct of war is that some people do get rich.
Oh yeah.
But not
no, it's only the people at the top. It's not us. Obviously, they want to distract you with all this. They don't want you to look at the facts. They don't want you to look at history and all these other things, and they want you just to just have an emotional point of view. Well, really, instead of like actually thinking like, we need to think outside the box here, But unfortunately, regular people have a secret desire to lose because they're tied to that negativity bias. They're thinking. A lot of people are thinking we're going to start a world war. I think it's a low probability at this point. I think because one, I have a bias that hopefully it does not, because that's like the end of humanity.
Yeah, that's the problem that I have. Is I think a lot of people just think that it can't happen, and I think realistically, in my lifetime, I'm trying to think of the wars. I mean, I wanted to join the Marines, and my dad fought me really hard on this after the Beirut bombings.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I wanted to do. But I look at it in hindsight, and I still wish I went. I really do. It's something that probably one of the regrets that I do have in my life, that I didn't join the military when I wanted to. So,
You know what? That actually, not to interrupt you, I was saying, guys, are killing some of the moment. I was watching the new Kingsman. They deal with that, with a kid trying to join the new World War One and saying it's his honor to fight, for duty for a country. So you think that's going to come? I mean, with this situation, man, it's insane. That's what caught me off guard when they drafted, or they well, not even drafted, conscripted. I don't know if that makes sense. Well,
Yeah,
they conscripted all those young men, all
they
those
could.
men at one time.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. They could do whatever they want. If we ever had like a war here, they could do the same thing. It's that they have what is it? When you go to college, you have to sign for what is it for a draft? If you get called, you have to go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a question, right? Imagine if you guys were one of the men, almost about to die in a third world war. If you guys were in Ukraine, what would you guys be doing right now? If a troops of Russians are coming to your house for whatever reason.
You gotta
If
lay
you could
low.
entertain
You
this.
gotta lay low, and you gotta have a plan. You gotta have like a platoon. There's got to be a leader. There got to be a person that gets the food and supplies. You gotta have like a team. And honestly, you gotta do guerrilla warfare. And if it seems like the way a huge army is coming, then it's best to lay low as much as possible. Don't make a peep. Don't have when it's night. Obviously, don't like be in the dark and all these other things. Do not attract any attention. This is in war. You got to do whatever it takes to survive, man.
I don't know if it's good or bad, but I'm about 10 miles from a military base. So
it's not too late, Tony. It's not too late.
Could be good, too bad. So
Bruno's gonna be down
So
there.
base, Tony.
Yo, Tony's gonna be down there like Captain America, dude.
That's the one thing. Like,
Going in
honestly,
first.
I think the one thing, like, I played Age of Empires as a kid, so I thought, like, in war, man, you gotta flip the switch, But I think, like, can you imagine killing someone else? That's gonna change your life forever, And that's some heavy stuff.
You're gonna like this comment right here. Read this one, because that's where, just so you know, Runaway, that's where Shift is right now. No.
Yeah, I know. It's his desire. He tried to conquer Yugoslavia too, but honestly, the Balkans, that might unite all of us to fight. Like, I don't want to be under his regime. He can go fuck himself. Seriously. Like, fuck that guy.
He can ride with his horse with no shirt on back to where he was.
Yeah, like, you're gonna fight with us? We're made for war. It's like you fight with the Balkans. We're gonna fucking tear you up.
Yo, Ship's like, how dare you bring your Sambo up here, man?
Yeah,
get out of here with that.
Get out of here, man.
I look at it this way. I'm a lot older than you guys. I'm 59.
Yeah.
I think about the life I've lived and how would I fight. We hear, it's funny too. You listen to like Lux Maximus, and he cracks me up, man. But he talks about, people being cannon fodder, and
that's what I talk about all the time.
That's what the 18 to 60-year-old men seems to be like, the cannon fodder when you need them.
That's disgusting, That's how we're treated, as men.
Hey, that's how exactly. That's how I see it. Now, hey, why don't you guys save us? I mean, where now all the toxic masculinity is just gone all of a sudden. I bet that's not the case in Ukraine no more, right?
You see, this is why governments don't give a fuck about you, and that's why you got to think for yourself, man. Because
exactly,
this is like your livelihood. They're saying, oh, this is some serious shit. War. I can't believe people are like wanting a world war. It's just insanity. I'm like, you guys have no idea how bad war is. You don't want it,
dude. It's
yeah.
Go ahead, Tony.
There's a certain percentage of people that understand war. I think the older I've got, I understand it. I do. I know what the consequences are of it. Now, would I fight to protect my homeland? Absolutely. You look at, they were handing out like you said, the class 3 weapons, in Kiev, and for people to fight, stay and fight. I think it's a smaller percentage in the United States that would actually do that. I truly think that. I think a lot of people are talk, but when it actually comes to bloodshed and things happening, I don't think most people have the stomach for it. I really don't. I think we've gotten so soft. I mean, facts are facts. Look at our president. This is why this is happening, because we have a weak leader. Yeah. We have the weakest leader.
What he should have done, because like Putin, he made that Machiavelli move in saying that. He should have said, "Look, if you're going to invade, then we're going to bomb Moscow." That would have shut up Russia real quick, But
no, I doubt it because China is an ally with Russia too. Yes, they do business. Also India, but India also hates China. So there's a huge conflict of interest too amongst these countries. Because yes, U.S. is on the top, but like every every other country and every other the biggest bully, you don't want to be under the thumb, for I guess it's a matter of time or whatever, but honestly, you don't want to stay under a one power, one world, bully, basically.
Well, what's funny is when you say bully, I think in war is a good thing. We should be the number one bully, and we are not anymore. We're just not.
That's what my smart money trader told me. He said this is making a fool of the West. It's making a fool of America, and this is basically a top of NATO that it's done. Ukraine will never be in NATO. It will never be part of the EU anymore. This is established now, and Putin is just playing chess games with the West. It's pretty sad, And China is
while they're playing checkers,
and everyone's quiet about China right now. What about Taiwan?
Here's the problem. U.S. also supports and carries NATO. There's a reason that the next 10 we are more powerful than the next 10 militaries combined. What that allows is the weakening of other countries, more welfare system, more frivolous spending. Right? They're stupid with their money. They're allowed to be because Americans, we have to take the bill. Now we're in $30 trillion. I think right shift. $33 trillion of debt. All of a sudden, it was 20. It was 22. Right? Yeah. Who's going to pay for this? Is it going to land on the citizens, and eventually there's going to be either a bribe of land or resources?
They're paying China. They're paying China with our land.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly.
Here's the thing. It's also quiet right now because China wants to get Taiwan. Do you know why Taiwan is so fucking valuable? It's because they have all the semiconducting computer chips, AMD, TSM. They make all the processors for the computers and stuff. And guess what? The governments, they need those chips because guess what? It's going to build robotics, artificial intelligence. They don't want to lose that battle, right? To the AI wars that's going to happen. That's what I think. Also, this is all about the next trend. Like governments, central bankers, they know the trend. And
one more thing, it's a lot worse in Ukraine right now than it's told, and it's not on major medias because one is Black Pigeon Speak. Yeah, one is Black Pigeon Speak. He deleted the video. I was almost, one third of the way through it, and it was actually a journalist whose focus is in geopolitics and on Ukraine. And then there's another source that I heard.
YouTube, right, Woody?
Yes, Black Pigeon Speak on YouTube. And then there's also another source that I heard that it's way worse, and it's not even in the media right now. So we are not seeing the whole picture, but few people that are.
I'm so glad you brought this up because there's videos. This was what I was going to mention. There are videos that I've watched, and have gone back to them, and they are no longer there. In the
yes. I was about to say that. Yep.
Yet we got Coach Red Pill putting videos up every.
Oh, dude, he's shitting his pants right now. Tony, do you know Coach Red Pill?
Oh, that's right. He's in
Ukraine with his harem. with his harem of 18 to 25-year-olds.
Oh, that's
And
funny.
yeah, he's shitting his pants right now, and he has photograph of his family. I think some other, I don't know if it was Russia or Ukraine, a photographic evidence of them that they're okay. I think it's kids or something like that.
Oh man,
So yeah,
that's
it's funny. He's shitting his pants.
I know we diss these guys, but come on, that's
Yeah.
Hopefully
We always
he
want the
gets out.
best for him. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
I know. I'm being sarcastic. Obviously, I don't wish the worst on anybody.
Supposed to be alpha.
He's at a whole.
Let's get real about, we're talking,
Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
we talk a lot about, in the black pill and things like that, talk about geomaxing. Hey, this is one of the dangers of geomaxing right here, man.
Yeah.
When a conflict
This is a-
happens.
This is a real black pill.
Yeah.
You go to a different country and you move, it just shows that they're not as stable. Not saying that we are super stable, but these smaller countries, a lot of these European countries, South American, Central American countries aren't stable. You really don't have the protection you want, and that you might need when shit really hits the fan.
Like
Yes.
you gotta know
Yes.
you gotta
Yeah.
know people. You gotta know people in these countries. You can't just move there blindly, right?
So this is
Especially
a
if
good time.
Yeah.
This is a good time to. I'm proud to be an American. Well, at least I know
Here's
I'm
the thing about
somewhat
America.
free.
Here's the thing about America. If they attack us, it's game over. America's full force. You're not gonna fuck with USA when it comes to military might. You're
Especially
not.
with the stuff we got cooking up in the back burner.
Yeah, it will
They haven't
unite.
unleashed
It
the
will unite
full,
all of us, and you're gonna fight.
Let's just say we don't need nukes at that point. It's like, let's just say we don't need nukes.
Yeah, I don't think any country would dare to touch honestly, the US. That's one thing for sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully US doesn't forcefully involve themselves with this, because Russia has allies too. Iran is also an ally of Russia, so there you go.
Yeah, you're not gonna because also the U.S. has the world reserve currency, and people forget it's not about military might. Also, what's more powerful than military might? Fiat currency, U.S. dollar. U.S. dollar has reigned misery across the world, unfortunately.
Have you guys heard about them kicking up the dust of Chernobyl? Have you heard about that?
Oh yeah. Oh god, that's awful.
What issues that can happen now? I mean,
wait, say that again. Say that again, Tony.
The military went. The Russian military went near Chernobyl, and basically it has the potential to spread across the Ukraine. And that's radiation right there. That can last for thousands of years.
No, but how? How though? I don't get. I know Chernobyl. I saw a couple documentaries on it. So, but how are they going to spread that?
Blow it up, put it into the air, and the wind will carry it over the Ukraine.
Oh, okay.
Why do they always fight so dirty over there, man?
Well, no. War is not about dirty. War is about destroying the enemy. Like you use any tactic to destroy the enemy. You think this is bad? Yeah. In the Balkans, man, that Yugoslav war, there was pregnant ladies chopped in half.
Yeah.
Brutality, genocides, man. And it wasn't really talked about, but trust me, war, man, I don't wish it upon anybody. I hope it just clears up. This some miracle Russia just stops.
Yeah. I mean, you think of a nuclear war issue right now. Think of Putin just saying, there's no reason why he just can't say fuck it. I mean, there's just no reason why. Why would he just not say, you know what, it's time to start this? Everybody's talked about World War III.
Yeah.
Why can't he just say, you know what, it's time, and it's my time, and I'm going to do it right now?
Here's the thing about this, Tony. Usually, and this is like from a mass psychology perspective, usually when everyone's talking about it or leaning one direction, it doesn't matter what it is, usually the crowd is wrong. So I think it's a low probability bet, hopefully no world war, even though there is a chance, I think it's a low probability, because now look, do you know what kind of sickens me? Everyone's trying to act like a geopolitical expert now.
Yeah.
And like Laura Rhodes talking about, like she got exposed with her crypto coin, right? CoffeeZilla was talking about, and now she says, stop trying to shame me. We should be focusing on Ukraine. No, you're grifting guys, and then you're using that talking about disgusting behavior. Disgusting, man.
Welcome, Caduceus. Welcome.
Howdy, partner. How y'all doing out here?
How y'all doing out here?
How you doing, partner? You having fun right now being American? America?
I'm not having fun studying right now, but I'll chat with you
Son of a
guys.
Yeah, that's the student cell life, you know.
Study break.
Hey, listen,
I'm going to guess and say Caduceus is the youngest on the panel here.
I can't believe that.
Probably.
Just a guess. So what's your take on this whole situation?
I've missed a lot of what you were talking about, but the Ukraine thing, I just think that usually when these things happen, there's often a logical reason. And whenever it seems illogical, it's more likely that I'm ignorant of what the incentives are than it being insanity or an ego thing that the media always tries to present. And like, there's a lot of explanations, for example, like economically, even in like the normie explanations, like you got Gazprom, one of the biggest companies in Russia, and Ukraine is full of natural gas depots. That's an example. So there's multiple ways to explain it. I think it's more telling on the US that we're no longer, it really just tells that we never, there's no longer an incentive for us to financially for us to protect other countries, especially with that new Silk Road coming in.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I just see it as in like there's a lot of info that I'm missing, and it's better. It's a more reasonable explanation to claim I have ignorance than the other person's crazy.
Usually the markets usually tell us if it's bullshit or not.
Let me say something though, Caduceus. You said the word ignorance. When people hear ignorance, a lot of people think that means you're stupid. No, ignorant means you just don't know.
You simply don't know. Yeah,
that's it. That's the difference. When somebody says, "Oh, you're ignorant," that's usually a not. But ignorance means you're not up on the current, political situation. Ignorant of the situation. Not when we say ignorant, somebody's ignorant. A lot of times, that's usually kind of a knock on them. But one of the things I'll go back to was a lot of people say it's a distraction, and it's a distraction. We're looking over here when we should be looking over here. I want your thoughts on that, Caduceus.
I'm just taking the stance that I'm ignorant. I don't know. Like that would be a possibility. I can't say for certain if it's a distraction. I can't say for certain it's a push for natural gas. I can't say any of it because I don't know. Yeah. But I think people speculate too much on the distraction thing. This is a narrative I think that's come out, we'll say in the past 10 years. People always think there's a distraction for something. Who did I lose here?
Oh, that was Woody.
Okay. Yeah. People always say it's a distraction. We need to look over here. Okay. So if we know that, then what are we being distracted from? That's what I like. That's what I want people to explain. Okay. Because that's that conspiracy theory attitude. I'm not saying I disagree with it, but I want to know really what it is. That's my opinion. What is it? What are we being distracted from? It's kind of like a pickpocket. Think of how a pickpocket works. He's going to hit your arm and his hand's going to go in your pocket,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what's the distraction? That's what I'm curious of, because I've heard a lot of people say that. So it says Woody is distracted. That's funny.
Woody is busy.
It's very possible that it is a distraction. I don't know. I think it is a little bit suspect that there's a lot of hype about the tensions building up.
Yes, exactly.
Because when you attack, it's a better strategy to not tell everyone you're going to attack.
Here's the thing. Yeah, this is what I tell in my videos, man. It's like mass psychology. Usually, when one crowd is in one one direction, usually it's bullshit. Usually,
yeah, and like most of the time, it's more likely that the people are in power aren't gonna make mistakes that relinquish their power.
Exactly.
So I just see it like that. And
let me ask the panel in the chat: what would be the advantage to Putin saying he's going to attack? What's the advantage to him? I'm curious what the chat thinks. I'm curious what the panel thinks. I've thought this one out, and I'm thinking, all right, is he being somewhat civil and saying, okay, get out kind of thing, giving people a chance to leave? What's the purpose of him saying that? Are there, I've heard, conspiracy theories on biolabs and all sorts of things. So what is it? What's the actual reason why he would say we're going to attack? What's the purpose?
That is a question I cannot answer. And like, it really doesn't affect like how I'm going to live my life either. It just kind of, it is what it is. Like, he did it, and how we adapt is how we adapt.
What do you think his reason is, though? I'm curious, man. Everybody here on the panel, in the chat, what is the reason why he would announce an attack? Because to me, I mean, if anybody knows anything about the art of war, okay, I don't think you tell people.
I think it's
appear weak when you're strong. Appear strong when you're weak. So
I think it's because, like, based on his past, there was a speech in Putin's speech in 2016 that provides clues, actually. And I'm gonna, if it's okay, if I could say it, Tony. He said that basically, I'm not going to list everything. All that matters is that we have modernized our military industrial complex, and we continue to develop new generation warfare. No matter what we said to our American partners to curb the production of weaponry, they refused to cooperate with us. They rejected our offers and continued to do their own thing. They rejected everything we had to offer. So here we are today, and they placed their missile defense system in Romania, always saying we must protect ourselves from the Iranian nuclear threat. Where's the threat? There is no Iranian nuclear threat. So really, I think he's just pissed that he's not getting the deals that he wants, with the oil pipeline with Germany and all that. So he's basically just saying, okay, we're going to show that you're really a weak country.
Is it that or a temper tantrum?
Yeah, he's just saying, like, okay, we done everything. We wanted something, but you guys are not being cool. You're not letting us establish the commerce, commerce between Europe, and you guys are just being bullies, and we're going to do our own thing, from his perspective, from Putin's perspective.
I guarantee Saturday Night Live is going to make a tasteless joke on this tonight.
Well, I dropped the link, so if anybody wants to come on, you're going to have to. Hopefully, I know you're going to have to pop your cam on. I am going to cover the screen, so the
cam up
is in the chat.
Let's cam up, man.
The reason everybody's here right now because I sent out emails, so I know who they are.
I don't know the answer to this question. Like, there's a million explanations and a lot of details I don't know. Like, for example, I think it's reasonable if you want to be conspiratorial. Like, there's a possibility that the systems of power are hidden, and they're all just talking heads. They're all hired. So
yeah,
that could be another angle. Like, I don't know the answer, and for me, really, I could just adapt to what's going on.
For me, it's very simple. This is good news for the bankers. This is a good excuse to print more money, and just look what the markets do. If there was a real hot war, we would have a severe crash, like instant, like against the script. The market would have crashed really hard,
like the World War II.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But
hold on 1 second, you guys. I'm going to bring on Uncle Guns here. I just want to make sure that it's him, because we know we've got a lot of them here.
It's Guns, me, brother. It's me.
Okay, good.
Okay. Yo, Guns, I'm running behind you, man. I'll be your lieutenant.
Yo, if you need me to shoot, man, I got you, man. It's like
Привет, друзья. Добрый вечер.
General Guns tonight. You've been upgraded from Uncle to General. So
I can see, I can see Guns in our platoon would be like Starship Troopers. If I catch you out through your job, I'll shoot you myself.
Yep.
Yeah, so let's I want to welcome Azvaroon. Azvaroon, welcome. And of course, Uncle Guns. I want to go to Uncle Guns real quick, then we'll go to Azvaroon. Guns, what's your take on this whole scene?
Well, I mean, you and I think Shift is around closer to my age. We lived through the 80s where, Russia was constantly saber rattling and doing stuff like this, little small regions and making their presence known and taking over. If they weren't taken over, it was it was their allies taking over little small regions, so this has been going on for a while. I think it's a scare tactic, and I don't see this. I'm with Shift. I don't see it going critical, and I don't see it lasting any more than a couple weeks.
And
Tell us
why, though, you don't see it going critical. I'm going to go ahead and play this clip again from for everybody that's just joining us right now. This clip from Putin, and this is brutal, man. I mean, it really is. This should put some righteous fear in you right here. Just so everybody knows, my name right there, that's Anthony Bruno. That's Anthony in Ukrainian. So that's what you're seeing there. And I'm going to play this real quick.
Пытался помешать нам, а тем более создать угрозы для нашей страны, для нашего народа, должны знать, что ответ России будет незамедлительным и приведет вас к таким последствиям, с которыми вы в своей истории.
That's
ridiculous.
That is brutal right there, man.
This is Slav. This is this is what I'm saying, man. Slavs, man, we mean business. If we want to fight, it's and Putin, he's just the born killer, man.
He's got the eyes, man. Wasn't he in like the wasn't he like a former agent or whatnot?
He was a senior agent at the KGB, and he was the leader. He was the deputy. He was the director. He was the top guy at the FSB.
And he's pretty damn good at judo too. I posted a link.
He's quite a big sambo guy.
I have followed his judo videos for years and years.
Oh yeah,
and years. And to me, again, as much of we might want to call him a twisted leader, whatever, but he's a strong leader. That's just a fact.
He's definitely alpha.
Yeah.
I mean, he does karate, for crying out loud. This guy.
No, judo.
Oh, judo. Well, yeah.
Well, the KGB in general was trained with sambo.
Yeah.
So
sambo, and they do a Russian martial art called Sistema.
Yeah.
Sistema.
Yeah. And also, his first name is Vladimir. Vladimir is Tsar, man. He thinks he's a fucking czar, man.
Well, I mean, it's like Tony said. Can you blame the guy? Look around the world.
I mean, I don't know about that.
Look around the world. You got Trudeau, you got Macron, you got Brandon, you got all these people. You got Germany, you got Russia. Russia is the commies are looking at the rest of the world, saying, "Look what you did to your own people," as Pops would say. You look what you did to your own people. So now I'm doing stuff to my own people, and now you got something to say about it. So I mean, it's interesting.
I just brought Muhammad on. Muhammad, is that you? Muhammad?
Oh my. Oh, hello.
Muhammad,
hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I just want to make sure we're not getting pee-pee pilled here.
Wind socks flopping.
No penis pills, man. No penis pills.
No penis pills tonight.
Hello, everybody. Long time no see, Tony.
What's up, Muhammad?
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. Absolutely.
Likewise.
I want to hear Asvaroon's take. What do you think?
Oh yeah,
let's go to Asvaroon. You've been quiet for a while. Let's hear it.
Yeah, but actually, you should read. I think one person was there in the CIA. He was hunting Osama bin Laden. His name is Michael Schur. So he's written Marching Towards Hell, Imperial Hubris as well. All right. These books give a clear idea as to what faults lie with America. Like what actually happened was that, I mean, I shouldn't say this. In the Cold War, the Americans wanted to stop the spread of communism, and they wanted to do it by any means, all right. But they got scared of the Middle East because because America's economy is also dependent on oil, right? So in order to stop the communists from taking power, they started supporting tyrants in the Middle East so that their economic interests will be looked after well. So they actually got Saddam to power. Then they supported the Saudi royal family and that Muhammad, Shah of Iran, that Reza Pahlavan. And then they even supported, I think, who else? The Jordanian family as well. All right. What actually happened? And then they even supported Hosni Mubarak. Many times the politicians, they lie over there in the US saying that these people are attacking us because of our way of life, because we've got women in the workplace, because we have strip clubs. It's not because of that. They have genuine like the reasons why they don't like the US is they support Israel continuously, and they've supported tyrannies in the Middle East. Now another problem that's happened actually is, instead of seeing if national interests are involved or are at stake, now American politicians have thought that democracies will solve all the problems. When they toppled Saddam Hussein, they didn't know the repercussions of what will happen. When they toppled Gaddafi also, they didn't know what the repercussions will be. Same thing happened after toppling Hosni Mubarak as well. Ukraine is a corrupt country actually. Even if you establish a democracy, it will go Afghanistan's way. People just loot the money over there and go off. Vladimir Putin doesn't like it because for him, actually, his national interests are at stake. So he is doing what he's actually doing. The thing is, the founding fathers of America actually had said this: until unless your national interests are not at stake, don't get involved in other people's problems. You won't understand what's happening. The politicians over here, they've actually totally deviated from what the founding fathers have said. That is the problem actually. You've got to read Michael Schur's Imperial Hubris and I think Marching Towards Hell. He's given a perfect description as to why the terrorists actually attack America and what faults lie with the politicians of the US.
It's pretty obvious, even if you don't read any book. Back in 2014, they brought down and toppled over a democratically elected government, and those were funded by the European Union, and they were with flags, the supporters of that kind of coup or whatever it was. Fast forward to now, it's very interesting. Nigel Farage, about a week before this invasion of Ukraine by Russia, had actually said that we have been saying to Ukraine, we're going to welcome you to join NATO. Like, what about the Cuban Missile Crisis? Did Americans tolerate Russian missiles in Cuba? No, it was the exact thing, but in the reverse this time. So of course Putin just invaded because he just could not accept Ukraine becoming part of NATO. It's pretty obvious.
Exactly. Yes.
He should have left it alone.
Well, now it's like it made NATO. It looked like fools now. Like it's like now it's a joke, and that is why he just went in there too. It's just to prove a point. Like now, it proves the point that the West is falling apart. It is super weak, weak. Yeah.
Super weak. You should listen that on trigonometry. I'm sorry. Go on.
Yeah, super weak and super woke. You know,
woke.
But the thing is,
instead of World War III, I call it woke War III.
Hey, they said Ukraine said, it's funny, you got people over there, people screaming about feminism. Watch us strip men. And I was like, good God. That someone actually made a goofy video about that. They said, where are the feminists now screaming about, all the men going to war? It just shows you when war happens.
No, it's more than that. Now only men have been banned from leaving Ukraine. All women are allowed to leave with kids. Men have been banned. How about that? Where are all the strong independent women?
So
where are all the strong independent? It is. And here's another question. Why all these Arabs and all these people hate USA? Here's a very, very fundamental question. Why do you think Iranians detest and resent Americans? Go back to before Shah Iran. They toppled Dr. Mossadegh's, the democratically elected prime minister of Iranians, and CIA installed Shah of Iran to look after Western interests, British oil companies and American interests. That is why Iranians detest. And there is all the stuff of Islam versus West, that element is there. But if they had not messed up with their elected regime, Iranians wouldn't be bothered about Iraq or about Americans or anybody.
Okay,
I mean, Mohammed, I would expand on that and say, like, I don't necessarily think Iranians, the people in general, detest Americans that much. Like, we just get the propaganda that we hear that they hate us.
True, I agree.
I don't think they really disagree with us because we got plenty of Iranian immigrants that come to the U.S. and and they visit their families.
Can I expand on that? What you just expanded on? See, in Iran there are two kind of people. No, this is a very interesting discussion because it's important to understand. In Iran, there are two kind of people who are very Muslim and very, very Persian at the same time. So understand, Iran after Arab invasion is a later
Persians
thing.
and Assyrians.
Yes. Now, Persians, the Iranians who are not very Muslim, they are kind of atheists. They follow their Zoroastrian tradition and Persian tradition more than they follow the Islamic tradition. They are the ones who left Iran and came to USA and all that stuff. So it's important to understand that.
I mean,
But the people
I've
who are
met those
there,
of both. I met immigrants from both backgrounds, though. People that
yep,
identify
yep,
with the Persians and because there's Christians that leave, there's Jews that leave, there's
yes,
also
yes. But
Zoroastrian traditions, and then you
here's
got
the
the
kicker.
Muslims as
Here's the
well.
kicker, Caduceus. Here's the kicker. The Muslim Shiites, which are the predominant population in Iran, you have to understand Sunnis will attack directly at this time, but Iranian jihad is actually on a moratorium till their imam manifests in person. So it's important to understand that they resent, they understand it's Islam versus rest of the world, which is evil, which is non-Islamic, including Sunni Muslims who are not Muslims in the real sense to Shiites and vice versa. The difference between Sunni Muslims and Shiite Muslim is Sunnis will, like Taliban, they will attack you. Okay, Shiites will not, because they have a religious decree which has put jihad and fighting against any infidel on a moratorium till the Imam manifests in person. They're waiting for that promised Messiah. Once that happens, you and I are on their hit list. Without,
I mean,
make no mistake.
the point I'm making is that you don't know unless you have boots on the ground in Iran. That's the point
Yeah.
I'm making. You don't know the sentiments of the people unless you're there.
Oh no, I'm telling you, because of Islam, Shiites are a very big population in Pakistan, and I've got very close Shiites friend, and I've asked them, hey sir, you don't attack back. This is the reason, and they say yes, that is the reason we can't fight back. We are actually religiously forbidden. There's a fatwa which forbids them to strike back and lash.
Yeah,
back
I'm not
because
saying
the
you're wrong.
Imam-
I'm just
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
I'm just saying
So
that
that's in there.
I'm just saying we hear everything through a screen, and like
Frank
Yeah,
Pesci,
yeah.
is that you?
Yeah, it's me, brother.
Okay, good. Just checking. Sorry.
Yeah.
Wow, Putin warns NATO to withdraw from some nations. And I just saw this on my Microsoft newsreel here.
Yeah,
Well-
his plan is to make NATO look really weak. Like
We've,
the show.
we've got quite a good discussion going here. I want to welcome Frank back again. Frank,
How you
Yeah.
doing, Frank?
Thanks, guys. I'm sorry I had to step off. I missed a good 45 minutes or so of this show. It's a very interesting topic. And it's probably already been said, but I'll just say it again while I have 2 seconds to have the mic here. There's a shaking that's happening in the world, and this is not a isolated incident that we're witnessing here. I heard some of what you guys said. You know, this was in Putin's interest to do this, and, you know, NATO's at the front door, and he's a strong national leader, and all those things are very true. But what you're also seeing is you're seeing Russia taking an opportunity to field their military for what will eventually be a much larger war, and that will be the war when they team up with China and go against the West. And that war will go nuclear, and terrible and bad things will happen in that.
yeah,
And what you're-
explain that, Frank. On
sure will though.
'cause you did a great job.
Yeah. No, I am sure that it will, because that's the timeline of humanity, man. That's the timeline of the return of the Christ. That's the timeline for judgment to happen. And everything that you're seeing is aligning. Those stars are aligning for that. Today, China, for instance, announced that they're starting to do new refreshed exercises outside of Taiwan. And it's probably going to be larger than the average air incursions that you have seen over the last year and a half or so. It's going to be a different play. And again, Russia taking the opportunity to field its military in a theater where right now they're having logistical issues. Their units are not being resupplied at this moment. They've come to a stall outside of Kiev on the reports that I'm reading, because they don't have security elements, they don't have logistical elements, they don't have resupply in place yet. So they're learning how to do these things, as opposed to the United States military. We've been involved in so many different conflicts in the last 40 years that we're pretty good logistically. And I think that them taking the opportunity to go into theater in Ukraine gives them an opportunity to get experience, gives an opportunity to work out the kinks. And there's one thing that you cannot take away from Russia, and that is that they are a united people, and they will fight, and they will fight hard, and they always have fought hard. And if you look back at World War II, you know, they suffered heavy casualties, but they took it all the way to Berlin, and they made it happen. So these are formidable people. And I think what we're going to see here is we're going to see a shaking of the world, a realigning of alliances. And I will say right now, at this very moment, I think the West is doing a good job of, and I don't, you know, believe me, I'm not like, you know, taking sides here. I'm just speaking totally objectively from what I see. the West is doing a really good job of controlling the narrative and calling Russia the bad guy, disconnecting them from SWIFT, getting the world to, condemn them and so on and so forth. But I will tell you in what I just read right now is that a constitutional referendum is expected to pass in Belarus that will allow Russia to house nuclear weapons in Belarus. So what you're seeing is a rearmament. What you're seeing is war drums. We're getting ready to see some tough times in the future. I really do believe that.
I fully agree with that, because if you look at them, Tupolev 160 was a very old supersonic bomber, and they've been constantly upgrading and improving it. And it's recently been upgraded to the latest avionics, latest softwares, latest armament. This is clearly a preparation for expansion or conflict. I don't know, but I think what Frank has said resonates well with what we are observing on the ground.
Well, why would a country like China or Russia risk the possibility of nuclear war?
No, nothing will happen now. You have to wait till 2050. Actually, that's what the astrologers have predicted. By 2050, things will be really bad. This will just be like a step-by-step acceleration of things going in a more terrible manner. It will peak by 2050, and only after 2050, things will come down, actually. So now what you're seeing is just a beginning of escalation, a step-by-step escalation. By 2050, things will be bad. Then all the countries of the world will really threaten to annihilate each other with real nuclear warheads. So it'll only get worse from now onwards.
There's something that we need to watch out for, and that is the West continuing to drive the narrative that Russia is doing things like, killing civilians or, bombing schools. We call that like false flags, right?
Well, it's I wanted to bring that up, Frank. One of the things I had on my notes here is misinformation. You're seeing misinformation is a part of war.
Perfect.
The misinformation that I'm seeing is that, misinformation can work both ways. Misinformation can work against the people you're attacking and against your own country. And I see that some of the misinformation that I've seen is that in Russia, they're basically showing Ukrainians that Ukrainian soldiers are basically surrendering, and they're giving them food and water as they're surrendering them. So they're saying, just surrender and we're going to take you in. Now, to me, that's pretty good misinformation. I don't know if anybody else knows of any other misinformation, or Frank or anybody else want to expand on that.
Yeah, they say, you give me the images, I'll give you the war. That's been said time and time again. I just saw a video a little while ago of a whole group of Ukrainian people running away from the square in Kiev, a drove of people. Then they scaled back the camera, and you could see a camera, a director, a guy with a bullhorn. It was totally orchestrated to, put imagery out there so that, again, Ukraine is a state that was created by the West. That is why there's so much corruption that's there. That's why Biden and Obama and everybody was over there making money. It's a complete nation state. We have basically, propped them people up so that we could do corrupt deals over there. And you know what? It's the West versus the bad guy. In order to fund the military-industrial complex and keep, churning the machine, you have to have an enemy. And a formidable enemy is a country like Russia. It's a country like China. But you know what? The world eventually is going to have enough of it. And it's going to turn into a war, a big war. And a lot of people are going to suffer and die from it.
No, I disagree.
I mean, we don't know. I mean, we really don't.
Hopefully not.
Yeah,
we don't wish that.
This could be the distraction for a big war. I mean, it really can be. People don't want to look at that. It's so hard to think that the shit could really hit the fan. It's really, really hard to look at that. That's a difficult thing to say. I'm going to go outside, and now communications, internet. Could you imagine if the internet failed us right now? What would people do? If all communication, you're on your own.
I'd be okay.
Yeah,
Tony, do you remember China did an experiment? They fired a missile to allegedly destroy 2 of its own satellites, and America went berserk. Why did that happen? Because American defense and entire internet and defense in its core stands on the GPS system. And if you bring it down, You have no real way of communicating efficiently the way we can in the presence of internet. There are backup systems, but GPS is it. That is it.
Primal Man, that's a good one. Apocalyptic cells.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
My only demand is, guys, there should be all female units going in without any men. That is my only demand, because if women are there in male units, then men have to take up the slack.
A lot of you
have
guys
to
don't
die.
remember the Y2K scare. That was
Sorry, say it again.
The Y2K scare. Yeah, I remember that well. Like,
yeah.
That was you see, this is mass psychology 101. When when the crowd is super one way, they're usually wrong. That's what my videos. It goes.
The interesting thing about Y2K actually is that it was a legitimate concern with the computers, but they fixed it really easily.
Yeah, exactly. You see,
but this is think about cyber attacks. This is new. I mean, this is a new way to completely screw everybody up in a big way too. Again, communication. I mean, how many people communicate through their phones, their computers? Communication, a huge cyber attack, or what do they call that? EDM, EPM? What is it called?
EMP, electromagnetic pulse, EMP.
Yeah. I just want to break the notion that people have that like we're ever at peace. War is being waged every single day.
Absolutely.
In different ways. Between we're waging war on countries are waging war on us. That's nothing new. It's just happening right now.
Or economic warfare. Like
economic propaganda.
Here's what I like. For me, markets always give me a clue of like, I don't know what event is going to happen, but usually when I get a clue, I know something's going to be big. Like the US dollar right now, when I look at it, like looking at charts and stuff, it looks hella bullish. And usually when a dollar is hella bullish, that means people are afraid of something happening big. I don't know if it's going to be a financial crisis. I don't know if it's going to be a hot war. I don't know if it's going to be another sickness. All I know, something big is going to happen, but probably not now. Not now. I think it's like setting up later in the fall. We'll find out more. I don't know yet.
See, the problem with things, I'm not scared of the things we can predict and anticipate. I'm afraid and scared and frightened and terrified of the things nobody can possibly anticipate, because
the black swans.
In final analysis, the law of unintended consequences reigns supreme. It will trump everything else.
Yeah,
we will not know what it does. We will not know what it does.
Yeah, black swan events. Yeah, there's always a probability. Like you got to think of the world in probabilities, and you got to think of it in a non-emotional manner. I see a lot of people that's getting super emotional. That's why even I got emotional when I saw kids and mothers like going on buses and stuff. I had to shut off the TV and like, you know what? Fuck this propaganda. I gotta look at it like in an AI type of way, alien type of perspective.
Yes,
logical.
I mean,
I've been
not probability.
I've been kind of looking at it that way, because you got people
not just probability. Not just probability. You have to look at it as a game of probability plus throw in entropy and disorder and chaos from physics and thermodynamics.
Oh yeah,
that is when you get the chaos and entropy. Everything will go into chaos, into mayhem. That is when you understand you can't predict. If you break a pool table, with the 15 balls or whatever that number is, you can never predict which way each ball will go. Why? Because you cannot possibly, nobody can take into account and interpret all the variables, the speed of each ball, the friction of every fiber on the green cloth, and the tilt and the earth spin and the air and the temperature, everything. You cannot calculate all those probabilities. That is why, so we can't anticipate and predict the final pocket each ball will go, but we think we can predict events like what will happen out of Ukrainian event. No, we are fooling ourselves.
This is why we need to study. P-ways are invading.
Why are you laughing?
I just take I forgot what I was going to say. I had a point, but like.
Sorry. Deacon, what are you laughing about?
Self-made's his
PUAs are invading into the Ukraine with Russian soldiers,
Well,
so they
I
can be the first.
now I remember what I got. Now I remember what I got.
Are they maintaining frame there? Are they maintaining their frame there?
Maintaining frame, bro.
They're gonna be Mog Max.
Now I have a point.
But if they're married, they have to game their wife before they leave.
Yeah. Now I remember my point. Like something I noticed is that everyone getting emotional, that like Shift's talking about, everyone's heartstrings being tugged. You got people saying we should have boots on the ground right now, that kind of stuff.
Oh Jesus!
Well,
you see, what you going there?
Those are people getting manipulated, and like, and then the other side, they have to like self-reflect upon the rhetoric in this country that's been leaning towards isolationism. Where you got, for example, on both sides, the left-leaning side will say we need to stop being dirty imperialists and let countries thrive on their own. We're squashing them, while the very conservative side says we need to spend our resources on Americans, focus on back home. So that they both lead to isolationism, and as a result of it, we're not going to be the world's policeman. So we need to accept that.
No, but one thing actually is, at the end of the day, since actually human beings have destroyed each other actually around 81 times, all right. These type of nuclear wars have happened in the past, so again it won't matter. Again we'll probably destroy each other, and again from a primitive state we'll get back to where we were. We've done it 81 times already.
I mean, I guess in astrological type of view, you know.
I've got a question here. I've got another note here, and I'm really curious on what Frank and everybody has to say about this. And one of my notes in here is it always seems like everything Europe, Middle East, there's somehow Israel is involved. Does anybody know the connection to what's going on in Israel right now? And maybe I'll go to Frank on this. Maybe he would.
Can you provide any context to what exactly you were looking at?
Not really. It's just a note that I have. It's just because I just put down Israel, because it seems like Israel is involved in everything. So I'm just curious if anybody has any information on Israel and basically their involvement in any of this or their take on this.
You got to see Michael Schur. Michael Schur has been saying how the AIPAC lobby is actually a toxic product for America. How actually the American-Israeli lobby keeps manipulating Congress, corrupting them, and forcing them into wars that actually where America has no national interests. He was actually fired, I think, from his job, and they silenced him completely. But his videos are there on YouTube. You've got to go and check Michael Schur. He's the one who hunted Osama bin Laden down, and he's actually written, we are fighting an enemy that doesn't exist. The politicians keep saying that the terrorists attack us because of the way we live, because we've got women in the workforce, because of our degenerate lifestyle, but they don't care. These are substantiative issues that they attack us for. And he's also outlined how they've actually even stolen secrets from the American army and given it to its enemies, how they've actually manipulated the politicians to do their bidding. So he's actually got a very good take on that.
The reason I say that, because Israel is always involved in some way, shape, or form. And it's funny because at the top of my notes is starred right there, Israel.
They control out of trade.
You got to star Israel, you know, for the flag. And everything.
Exactly. But why? So I really don't understand. It's like I understand it when Muslims blame for if a pigeon farts over Afghanistan and Muslims will blame Jews. That's understandable because that's part of the traditional Muslim narrative. But I don't understand why Western people think that Israel is behind a lot of stuff. This is an honest question. I'm not mocking any of you or anything, but I really want to understand what runs this machine, fuels this engine. Just explain to me, man.
Well,
I'm really curious.
That's the exact same question I'm getting at, Mohammed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm asking the panel. I don't know. I'm really curious.
I think it's just based on conspiracies, popular conspiracies with the Zionists and all these other stuff. But honestly, I think it's just, you know, Israel is like a very important piece in the Middle East for U.S. interest, you know, and people always try to tie it, you know, to, you know, they're doing something behind our backs. So I'm like, I don't really.
But the problem
and recently.
Go on, Varun. Go on.
Yeah, the problem actually is America didn't try to get energy independence. They became too dependent on oil. So when they became too dependent on oil, they had to install all these tyrants in the Middle East. All right, Israel may have had, it was like a strategic, at least it's got geopolitical importance as a piece of real estate over there. But probably if America diversified its energy dependence on other sources, it wouldn't be there in the Middle East actually. That is the thing actually. It's
Well,
dependence on
only
oil is
recently.
advanced.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Swarna, I thought you had. Recently, they've had a meeting between Israeli Prime Minister and I think was it Saudi king, or was it someone in Middle East? And there was Israeli flag and the Arab flag, whatever state it was. That's a landmark step. If Obama had achieved this, because this was secondary to the Abraham Agreement, whatever that was, which Trump did, and if Obama had done it, he would have gotten another Nobel Prize. But because this was initiated by Trump, nobody is covering it at all. This is like the biggest landmark event in the history of Middle East peace or wars or whatever, and nobody's paying any attention to it.
They want to keep that image of making Trump look bad constantly.
So long, Caduceus. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you, man.
All right, Caduceus.
Always appreciate your input, man. Absolutely. But
All
yeah,
right, brother.
The reason I asked that question is because, and I want to go to Frank on this because I always hear about Israel being involved in everything. There was a good comment about what was it about their weapons and what they develop. So, Frank, any input on this?
And I could just give you, some of my instinctual, ideas about it. It's not to say it's right or wrong, but it's how I feel. Jerusalem is a city that's been contested over since the beginning of time, essentially. All the major religions of the world want Jerusalem, which makes this a place of great interest.
Mm-hmm.
Look also where they're situated. They're situated right in the Mediterranean. Look who their greatest ally is, the United States and the West.
Mm-hmm.
They do possess nuclear weapons. They do control and have a lot of money, and they have a lot of influence. There are some Jews that live in Ukraine. When you have Putin saying things like, we're here to destroy the neo-Nazis, that automatically drags Israel into the conversation.
Okay.
I'm
glad you said that because that was my first thought right there when he said that. That's how I kind of tied that together, but I'm glad you brought that up.
I just think that Israel's always relevant, from a religious point of view, from a nation state point of view, from the return of the Mashiach point of view. I think Israel will be ever before us while we're here on earth.
I mean, when he made that statement about neo-Nazis and what else did he say? Who else was it? Drug addicts, I think.
Yeah. He called it
neo-Nazis and drug addicts. Can somebody give me on the channel, give me a description of what a neo-Nazi is? Like a real description? Anybody know?
Well, many of the Nazis from Germany fled and continued an insurgency in Ukraine for quite a while after World War II. At least that's what I've recently come to understand. So, some of that ideology remained there and never left. That's about the extent of it that I'm familiar with.
Okay. I'm just looking at.
Well, Israel also controls a lot of the majority of trade to the EU.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. I mean, the reason I'm not concerned, somebody asked me earlier, is that the only people that Russia could possibly team up with is China and Iran. That's it. That's it. That's the end of it.
Well, India too.
If they did that, the whole world would band together because nobody likes any of those guys. The whole world would band together and basically just shut them off.
But you know what? Without America, NATO is useless. The European countries, they're bred fighting out of their system. So actually, I think in Iraq, when one or two Italian soldiers got killed, Italy being part of NATO, they just withdrew suddenly. So without USA, NATO will crumble. Actually, only the British do the fighting. That's it. When they took these Germans to Afghanistan, when they established the government over there, all the Germans ever did was drink beer and train cops. That's it. So without America, NATO is also gone.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Uncle Guns, keep in mind, too, that, you have North Korea you can add into that mix. They could harass you with, their technology, missiles, EMPs, things like this. India has recently signed treaties with Russia, from what I understand. I mean, Yeah, what as Varun just said is completely right. It's the U.S. is the only thing that props up NATO, and the British to a certain extent.
Yeah, NATO is actually a death trap for the US. Simply, they'll be called to fight. These European guys won't do anything. They'll be like a drain on them. Actually, even those Spanish guys, when Spain was involved with, it was involved with America in fighting Afghanistan, they refused to go into an area because it was too dangerous. It's the job, they're military personnel, and they refuse to go in over there. It's just America fighting the whole world. That's it. NATO is a death trap for the US.
Yeah, totally agreed, man. And our military now, and I know some people that are in the U.S. military, and it is more woke now than ever. And I served, and I know some of you guys here served, and we served with honor. And I was thinking about the Ukrainian units that you hear about that are surrendering, and I'm thinking to myself, man, when I was in the military, surrender like as a unit, it's not an option. It's not something that I think that we would have done as military unit. Maybe it's because we were just so overpowering of every other enemy that we could come up against. But if you go back into even recent history in Korea, the war in Korea, the 8th Army was entirely routed, and a lot of things happened there. But I'd like to think that as Americans, we've come a long way, that we have honor and integrity and virtue and values that make us act with valor on the battlefield. So when you hear about Ukrainian units getting routed the way that they do, you're like, oh man, I hope Americans wouldn't drop their guns and just turn over like that. But when you look at the social construction that's happening within the ranks of our military today, you have to ask yourself, is the military the same military that we served in, just a few years ago? I was in, early 2000s till about mid 2000s, and we had a great quality of soldier. But even during that time, there was social engineering that was happening, and now forget about it. It's through the roof.
Yeah.
Not only that, look at their medical policies.
I'm going to throw this out to all our armed servicemen and servicewomen. I have a lot of respect for everybody who serves and fights for this country. I just hope that you're doing it for the right reasons. That's all, plain and simple. But I want to hoorah! I want to bring on General Fuch thyself here. You've been quiet, so Anthony, good to see you tonight. And I'd like your take on some of this we've been talking about. I'm really curious.
Yeah, this is good stuff. This is good stuff. Not for the Ukrainians or the Russian soldiers or anything like that, but it's probably something that had to happen. And there's stuff that went on for years and years that we weren't aware of because our media doesn't ever say that. They don't inform us. They just propagandize us. So there's a lot of crap that's been going on over there for years, and it just raced to a head, and that's why this happened. I mean, we think that it just happened. Whatever, it didn't happen just like that. It's been building for years. And anybody who's in the know knows it, but most American public does not know it because we're not informed ever by our media. So stop watching it. And then, but it's it's kind of a good thing because I guess the special flu is gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a little bit here in LA County. I don't live here. I live on Earth. I don't live in LA County, but I don't want to say where I live. Maybe I live in Spain or
that's
New
when
York.
we go back to the disinformation thing. Are we being distracted? Every time I hear that, I just think of a conspiracy. I
don't think this is not a distraction. It's a useful news story to distract us. It's a real thing, but we're not really, and I think I don't know that we should be informed of it, but I don't know that we need to be super. I don't know what it should be more informative, but it's not, obviously we don't need to worry about it because Russians aren't attacking us, but that's kind of, I don't want to say that. I don't want to be so cavalier about what's going on over there, but just saying but it's a great distraction for what isn't going on around here. You know, it is, and they're going to use it for that. Our media will use it for that. What's not going on, and you know, and I hope that it doesn't escalate to the point where our military gets involved in a war where they have no business getting involved in. I think that's probably true because it seems like 70% of the American populace doesn't want to go to war with Russia over Ukraine. So I think that's a done deal right there. But I mean, things could change. I mean, they could throw a false flag at us or whatever, and someone could say, "Oh my gosh, we got to go." But for now,
Anthony,
I think yes.
Since when does the will of the American people matter? Like nobody wants to go to war over this, but our leaders might thrust us into something.
The will of the American people matters when it becomes overwhelming. Then it matters. You know, when it's like 10%, nah, it doesn't matter. 20%, it's concerning. 30%, well, we got a problem. Maybe we change the subject. When it's 70%, it's not happening, dude.
Okay,
so I mean, you know, so I mean, you got to remember that, you know, regardless of whatever the media, everybody thinks they got the ear of the people, but really, you know,
have
not
you
now.
Seen the Ukrainian lady with the short hair on the news by any chance, who's begging Biden to intervene? Have you guys seen this?
No, not yet.
It's pretty brutal. It's, to me, that's pure propaganda. And I hate to say it, but we just, the worst thing Biden can do is send troops in there.
I mean, the guy, you know, he's brain dead president, man. The guy's a brain dead,
Dude,
like
he's worse
demented brain dead.
But he's not making any decisions. He doesn't make decisions. He's just a figurehead.
Yeah,
he's figurehead. Yeah, that's right.
They've been blasting this lady all over the news, just begging him to do something. And, you know, and I get it. We know war is hell. We know it's rough. That's what it's called. It's war. People die. I mean, that's what happens. And I'm not saying that to discount anything in any way, shape, or form. But when do you say it's not our problem? When do you say that? The problem with the U.S. is we get our hands in everything. There's times where we shouldn't be involved.
Most times.
And if Anthony's theory is correct, then we all need to be saying this united and loudly, so that our government does not pull us into a war that we have no business being.
I don't.
Here's the thing: it's really based on Obama, his policies, idiotic policies,
right?
Like pissing off Putin, like he didn't allow to build an oil pipeline next to Germany. You know, you could blame the previous administrations and all their stupid, idiotic policies, man.
But Biden did; he gave them the Nord Stream 2. While shutting down our own oil making capacity here.
Just
so he basically completed the failure. Man. He completed the failure.
I don't think you could. The American public would allow any deaths based on this conflict. They just wouldn't. They don't even understand it. You know, to be honest with you, I don't even understand it. I don't think 99% of the American people even understand it. It's just not part of our world. It would be like Putin trying to understand the conflicts of South Central LA. He just wouldn't understand it. It's not even part of his world. It just wouldn't even matter. And that's how most of the American public would see that. We don't even know it. Anybody who tries to talk authoritatively about it, unless they're there, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. We don't know. We don't know, and we shouldn't know. We don't.
There's one simple fact. Just follow the money. It's all based on money, man. And you know who's winning both sides of the aisle? It is the fucking bankers. Simple as that, man. Yeah. The money is the root of all evil, man.
Hey, it's like they say, fun.
It's the love of money.
Yeah,
is the root.
The love of money. The love of money. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is what it is, you know. But I don't think we're going to get involved because the American people aren't. You know, they'd have to throw a false flag over here. They'd have to blow up a building with a Russian flag on it to get us involved.
Even then, what would it take for Americans to become united and call for war against another nation? It would have to be something that would make
attack on our
9/11 look like
soil.
well, think
be
about
another
this.
9/11.
9/11, right? Some of us are old enough to kind of remember that day, very clearly. And for a very long time after that, man, everybody had an American flag. The president had a 95% approval rating. I mean, we were ready for anything. But these days, this country is so divided, man. I don't know what it would take. 9/11 today, I don't think would have the same impact as it did in 2001.
It's time to read up on the decline of the Roman Empire by Edward Gibbons. It's literally America's falling just like that, man, down to a T. It's almost frightening. It's crazy.
Well, Frank, you wouldn't want to have that. I mean, I think 9/11 was false myself. I don't believe it, but I don't think you'd want to have that because that would be fake. It would be a fake thing to unite the country against Russia. Well, I don't want something fake.
No, me neither. I don't want that.
I don't.
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that, man.
I mean, I want peace. I don't hate Russia. I don't hate any country.
Same here, man. Same here.
Peace, bro. Peace, man.
Absolutely.
And like I say, I'm willing to kill all motherfuckers who fight against the country, even at this decrepit state. But I don't hate anybody. I don't want to go to war against anybody unless there's a good goddamn reason. And if it's for politicians' neck, fuck them. Let them fucking die. Put them against the wall. Fuck them all. I don't give a fuck about
them.
So
in all our history, from all of us on this panel watching NATO in its actual function, this is the first time in my memory that I can see such a united front presented by this alliance that was set up after World War II. Which, in my estimation, what I think they're doing is I think they're priming us for global government. I think that they're priming us for a new narrative that says, "Hey, we make decisions on a consular basis. We meet with other world leaders before we make decisions.
Oh yeah,
even here in the United States, we will consult with our closest allies and NATO partners. And it only works if you have a really big boogeyman and your government is incompetent to the extent that you need outside help to solve your issues." And I think that that's what they want. And you see their power. They disconnected all the Russian banks from the SWIFT system and sanctioned their banks and this and that. Man, that's a tool. And there's been a lot of comments that have been popping up here about the banks, about money, about economic interests, so on and so forth.
WHO. They will use WHO as also just as a United Nation extension.
Oh, no doubt.
Who made the WHO? Who made these organizations? Like if you look at, there's certain royal families that made it, and of course they want to. Yeah, the super elites, which it starts with an R, which you could do your own research, but it's as simple as that, man. It's crazy,
Mohammed, you're a doctor, right?
Bank. Yeah.
Yes, I am.
One thing actually is
Oh, did we lose Azvaroon?
I think Varun kind of froze. He's frozen.
He's frozen in the timeline.
Oh,
time has slowed down for him. There he comes.
No, actually, like what I've read that book, Bloodlines of the Illuminati. Fritz Springmeier has written it. Now they blame the Rothschilds for everything, but actually, to be honest, they didn't fund both sides of the war in the Battle of Waterloo. What had happened was that the Duke of Wellington, he was reluctant to ask the Rothschilds to safeguard the money. The narrative goes like this: Rothschilds funded both sides in the Battle of Waterloo. Then they sank the Bank of England stocks. Then they purchased the whole Bank of England. Then they funded the war between the Confederates and the Unions in the Civil War that took place in America. Then they funded the First World War and the Second World War. But the whole narrative has been debunked. Actually, what actually happened was that this Nathan Rothschild was there, right? He was posted to England, and when war broke out between France and Britain, what actually happened was that Napoleon financed his troops by plundering people. The Duke of Wellington wanted to finance his troops through using treasury bonds. So actually, the Rothschilds were the first to pioneer the treasury bond system. they needed a kind of currency that was available and universal by nature. So they started collecting gold instead of the fiat currency. So I think Brunson, Hanswick, and then the Prussians, the British, and I think Netherlands, they were in a coalition against Napoleon. The Rothschilds, what they would do is they would be given money in gold and they would transport it safely from here and there because they had a banking system. So like what happened was that the Rothschilds thought that they'll improve their fortune if they purchased a lot of gold contracts. But the Prussians, they came in so swiftly at the Battle of Waterloo that the battle was over very quickly. So economics again runs on demand and supply. So all their money that they'd invested in gold went for a waste. So they got nearly ruined by it. And Nathan Rothschild just took a chance. He thought anyway England had won the war, so he started purchasing more and more British government, the British bonds. All right. Then he sold it. So by chance he made a lot of money. Then what happened was that in the civil war that took place between the Confederates and the Unions, he actually, like the Confederates actually said, you support us this time, we want your money. Rothschild said that we can't support you, it's too risky. But people misinterpreted the whole thing and said that they funded both sides. Then they started World War I and World War II. They were involved in a
They have all the power, man. You know, with that much power and influence. You know, the Rothschilds is definitely one of them, and the Rockefellers too, man.
Yeah, but it's
all right.
been
Check this out. Check this out. So everything you're saying, you realize what everything you're saying. Oh well, these families control everything, so that means the textbooks and all the shit you read about them is what they want you to know. Merry Christmas.
No, man, the 13 families thing has been debunked. The 13 families.
Christ. Stop it,
It's
man.
been debunked, man. Because you know what? That Fritz Springway, what he says, all the 13 families are descendants of the Egyptian royal bloodline. They want to take revenge.
I read this book. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
Are you sure they aren't like reincarnated souls from the pharaohs and all that shit?
I reckon. I think they're aliens, probably reptilians, probably reptiles.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Not that the reptilian shape-shifting reptilian theory by David Icke. Then the
Jesus! See what you did?
All I know is there's basically, if you have the money, you have the power. Who controls the money? It's the bankers. We don't know who the fuck they really are, but it's that simple.
But the story about the Rothschilds has been debunked completely. By the 20th century, they had become bankrupt. They became rich in the 18th century because Nathan Rothschild took a gamble. Then by the time I have the book, The House of Rothschilds, you've got to get it. It's distinguished facts from fiction, and they mentioned.
But is it like funded by the Rothschild themselves to tell you that? Because the media never talks about these guys ever.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, what happened was that they lost prominence after 19th century. In the 19th century they became addicted to pleasure, and by the 20th century they started losing their fortune. Then what happened was that the Nazis seized many of their properties in Austria and in Germany. And
one power can't stay in power forever. There's always other influences that we don't know. But all I know is it's really it's simple. It's like the bankers, bankers that control the money. If you follow who controls the money, then you can see who makes the laws. You know.
Yeah, but one thing is, if you fund both sides of the both warring sides in a war, you stand to lose more. Now the party that loses the fight, when you funded them, all your money is gone, right? So funding both sides is it's more of a lose-lose situation than rather than staying with one side. I mean, like, you're funding both sides. How are you going to get your money back? That's what they said in the Battle of Waterloo. They funded Napoleon and they funded the coalition.
But they learn from their mistakes now. We're not in the 1800s anymore.
That story itself is flawed. What happened was that the Nazis, they hated Jews, right? This whole thing of Rothschilds becoming powerful was anti-Semitism again. Joseph Goebbels made a movie in which Nathan Rothschild secretly bribes one of the generals of Napoleon to lose the war. But then again, that makes no sense. You've invested heavily in gold, all right? So now you want the French to lose the war immediately. So all the money you've spent in your gold investments goes for a toss, right? Like, there's no demand for gold. So you bought all those gold contracts, all for what? Prussians swiftly swept in and defeated the Napoleon's army. So all your money invested in gold goes for a toss. So it doesn't make sense actually. What
Napoleon.
Neil Ferguson
So
has.
so what's happening? Like all these bankers gave Putin some money to invade Ukraine, or they gave money to Ukraine to invite Putin. I'm not sure. Like how does all those bankers play into what Russia is doing into Ukraine, or what's going on in the world now?
It's more of like the U.S. We have the world reserve currency, right? And the Federal Reserve, that's a lot of power right there.
Absolutely.
And in order to keep propagating this market, they gotta keep quantitative easing, because all the other countries themselves, they're also doing the money printing, but the U.S. has to do it last. So they need a propagated disaster over and over again to keep printing this money, because they're also fighting deflation. It's not inflation, right? Like I posted on a video, there's a 107-year CPI chart, which CPI is the inflation, and I actually I drew a chart, I put a trend line, and we're not even close to hitting 10% inflation. We're actually in deflation mode. So the bankers are actually smart. They need to print money because they're fighting. We have the birth of artificial intelligence, and we have the birth of technology, right? We're not back in the 1970s anymore. And so they must keep printing money. But, that doesn't look good for the country. They're like, why the hell are we doing this? Why are we going into debt? Well, the bankers, they know what the trend is. They know what the future holds, or else they wouldn't be doing this, That's why governments love 0% interest borrowing. They love that. They're like, yeah, hey, hell yeah, give us more money.
Take the free money. Take it while you can.
Please, just keep doing it. Like, please, daddy, feed me. That's what, that's why these politicians, they're all prostitutes. They're all prostitutes, man.
I like this comment here by Tuesday. I really do. Ukraine is the last stepping stone of the Rainbow West to corrupting. That's actually a good comment.
That's a very good comment, actually.
Yeah. Are you guys? Someone mentioned somewhere, Tony, that it's not illegal in Russia for a husband to hit his wife. It's been decriminalized. Very interesting comment. So West, of course, West cannot tolerate that. We have to bring the rainbow to Russia. So we have to do something. Yeah, I agree.
John Boston. Yeah, like the gold market is actually setting up for a nice move. But gold and the silver market, the precious metals, banks have been fined millions and billions of dollars for shorting that market. It's crazy. Like in reality, gold should be at $5,000. But that's like a pipe dream. Like I realistically see only gold like at 2,300, 2,500. Like,
it's funny you say that, because you see all the things about buying gold, and it seems like it's just stayed level for quite a few years now.
Oh yeah.
Same thing with the silver push. Silver.
Yeah.
Silver is the biggest investment. I got a bucket full of silver. It's in my garage. I leave it with the door open. That shows you how concerned I am.
It's an insurance policy for a catastrophe. That's it. Yeah. If you put all of your fucking money into that, you're a fucking retard. Like it's just, come on, man.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, having actual. I look at, you think of, people always say apocalyptic times. Really, realistically, what good is it going to do you to have silver and gold, physical silver and gold? Nothing. What you're going to need is bullets and food. Is what
Tony, do you know what is the currency in American prison system? Do you know what is the currency?
Cigarettes.
No, because they banned cigarettes. It's a pouch of mackerel. Because $1, yes,
that makes sense.
It used to be cigarettes. But then they banned cigarettes in prison system, and then now this is like I'm quoting the book by Charles Whelan by the title of Naked Currency or Naked Money, and he's written this naked series, Naked Statistics, Naked Economy, and Naked Money, and mackerel, pouch of mackerel. Yeah,
I have a friend who I was putting money on his books, and that's what he would buy for protein.
Yep,
he would buy fish and things like that. Yep.
Yeah.
No, actually, what happened was that a long time ago, I think it was somewhere in 40s or 30s, a Russian economist called Nikolai Kondratyev, He came to the US. He was sent by Stalin to disprove that capitalism is better than communism. But he studied capitalism really well. And he said that capitalism, if left unchecked, is a wonderful system. It just like the way you've got seasons in the year, like spring, autumn, rainy season, and the winter and summer season. Capitalism also, there's a cycle of boom and bust. Like it works really well. It's superior to communism. Stalin got scared that he'll spread this news everywhere, put him in jail, and killed him later on. What has happened was that the founding fathers had said that you should not establish a central bank. Central banks will ultimately lead to socialism.
Yes.
Then what happened was that, just like in the Condrative cycle, you have the winter. The banks started failing in the US before 1913. They panicked. And they thought that we must have a central bank established. Then they went to JP Morgan. JP Morgan had a central bank established, but the Federal Reserve Bank, it's controlled by private public limited companies. Private public limited companies, again, you can become a shareholder over there. But what happened was that when they established the central bank, they disrupted the Condrative cycle. That's when the decline of America actually began. Socialism slowly started creeping in from 1913. The decline has been slow. Until the Federal Reserve Bank was not established, there would be small depressions, and again things would rebound back. When the Federal Reserve Bank came into existence, that's when things went wrong. That's why you've not been able to solve your problem.
Even George Washington himself, Thomas Jefferson, Andrew Jackson warned about central bankers. Andrew Jackson was one of the most alpha presidents. He literally destroyed the central bankers back then. But nobody talks about them. No one talks about it.
We've got a comment from John Boston here. And do you guys think Putin is going to get erased from his own people when the invasion fails?
No.
Well, what I'm seeing is, I wonder if it's propaganda or misinformation, is where people are basically protesting against his invasion of the Ukraine. Do we know that's real? I don't know. I mean, how can I believe anything I see on the news?
If anything, this makes Putin look better. Like he made the West look like a fool, man. Like he's very smart. He's very intelligent, man.
Because Putin was trained by Marcus Johansen Wolf and Andropov. These two were the best spies in the whole world. All right, this Michael Wolf, he was a German Jew, and Andropov was a Russian. They trained him really well. This Michael Wolf, the CIA even bribed him. They told him, you can defect to the CIA, we'll double your salary and we'll give you all that you want. He refused and he died in poverty. Putin was actually stationed in Germany for a long time. So he can even speak German really well. And from these two people, Marcus Johansen Wolf and Andropov, they taught him how to conduct the war of psychology and how to...
he was a KGB, man.
Yeah, he was a KGB. That's what these two people. Yeah. These two people in the KGB, Marcus Johansen Wolf and this Andropov, they were the best spies in the whole world. They were better than the CIA. That's why he's very good at espionage and psychological warfare. They trained him really well.
Yeah, Putin is using mass psychology at a very high level, and he, like that's what bankers do. They facilitate boom and bust cycles in perpetuity because they control the money supply. And they control the markets. That's why there's an old saying in the markets: don't fight the Fed, or you end up dead. Dead isn't dead broke. Like there's so many people that try to short this, markets, and they always get creamed. Even like 1929, like there were a lot of people that lost a lot of money, and also 2020. Also, look at all these prostitutes. They're saying, "Oh, it's over, it's over." The Fed had just injected like $3 trillion, like in 2 weeks. And both sides of the aisle signed the law extremely quickly to let them pass, just to print money. That was like the fastest I've ever seen. Like I have never seen that before in a major U.S. stock market move like that, like a Bitcoin. That was like holy moly. So now the volatility of the markets are going to get even worse, and it's going to freak the fuck out of people. It is, but in reality, every time a country prints money, it usually always ends in disaster. But I don't think it's gonna I don't think America's demise is anytime soon. As I always say, it's usually when when people get euphoric, that's when the hammer falls. And you should always be wary. When you see people super euphoric about getting a lot of money, that's when you be like, holy shit, some shit is going to fly, you know?
Yeah, but the thing is, actually, only person who could have helped US was Ron Paul, man. They cut Ron Paul out. Ron Paul was the only person who had the right ideas.
Yeah.
Even though Trump came to power, he racked up the deficit, and he actually
Trump was terrible for that. Yeah.
Yeah, he racked up the deficit. So if he would have been in power for another 4 years, he would have increased the debt even more, and he would have crashed the economy. That was only Ron Paul had the right idea to abolish the Fed. His ideas were the best, but he got kicked out actually.
Yeah,
but one person can't fix the system which is corrupted and is moving in the right direction. So I don't know, but like that's what my take is. One person can't fix a mess created over 100 years by massive corrupt institutions and bankers and everybody having their own interest, and politicians especially.
Yeah, we can't just drain the swamp that quickly in 4 years.
Yep.
You got to do it like Andrew Jackson. Get in the military and take these guys out. That's how it's got to be. But
I've
that's
got
a pipe
something
dream.
else I want to bring up, something I saw on the news, a couple different stations here. I'm going to play this clip again for everybody. And the reason I'm playing this is for some context. Let's take a look at Putin's face in this video, okay?
Пытался помешать нам, а тем более создать угрозы для нашей страны, для нашего народа, должны знать, что ответ России будет незамедлительным и приведет вас к таким последствиям, с которыми вы в своей истории.
Okay, on Fox News, they had said he looked bloated and that he had cosmetic surgery.
Who was that, Putin?
What? Oh,
Are you
my
serious?
Fox News.
Yeah, I saw that. That was ridiculous. His eyes were like
surgery.
Wait a minute.
Else saw that. I'm like, I now I was looking at him going, what the hell?
Hey Tony, next thing I have a Wheat Waffles video of checking this cancer.
Look at his face rating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I was curious on what that whole discussion was about, him being bloated and having cosmetic surgery.
They were trying to shame him.
They ran out of material. It's like they're just fishing for anything. And, that's so sad. That's so effing sad to see that, man.
Because see, what Putin said, even through the translation and his subtitles, what he was saying over last few days and weeks was making perfect sense. And he was not mincing his words at all. He was constantly saying, since long time, NATO should say that they're not going to accept Ukraine into them because we will not have any choice but to like what else do you want? He's telling you, like, don't do it. And anyway, so now they're just grabbing at nonsense stuff. Oh, he's had facial surgery or plastic surgery because they don't have any real thing to talk about.
Tony was asking about the end game and what the distraction was, and I think me personally, maybe Frank can help me with this, but I think it's you can already see signs of it, is that they're trying to peg everyone who is on the right as siding with Russia and not the Ukraine. They're saying that everybody on the Republican and right side is, they're for the Russians. They're supporting the Russians, just like Orange Man did. And anyone associated on the right is totally for the Russians and completely against the Ukraine. And I think the distraction is they're going to keep pushing that exact agenda. And because what do we have coming up? The midterms. The left is losing power like crazy. All the governors and senators, everything's, a lot of stuff is flipping because they've seen the liberal leftist policies that aren't really working out, and people are done with it. So they're losing control like crazy. They're not, their power grasp is slipping. So I think it's a multi-layered, I think somebody said it earlier, war is multi-layered. It's political and monetary all the way, up and down the aisle.
Just to polarize the country,
I saw Martin backstage. I don't know who you are, Martin, but if you want to jump back on, show your face, I'll bring you on if you want to join the discussion.
If it's Martin, then it's like Goldberg. If it's Martin Goldberg,
I don't know. It just says Martin, but I don't know who it is. But didn't say Martin Goldberg. But if it is him, he is absolutely welcome on. But anybody backstage, if you can show me your face, I'll bring you on. But I'm going to cover the screen first so we don't get pee-pee pilled here. So I don't need to delete the stream and then blur it out. That's kind of a pain in the ass. So, but people are welcome on. If you want to come on and join the stream, I will cover. I will cover the stream real quick. If you don't want to show your face, you need to speak real quick. But I'll welcome everybody. So.
Looks like the trolls are really going into Ukraine, man. They're fishing for Tinder and stuff. So
I would love to have somebody right now from the Ukraine or Russia on. I think that would be awesome. I would love it. I would, I don't know how their internet is over there or if they're able to watch YouTube, but I think that would be really interesting if we had somebody like kind of was in the thick of it right now. So,
yeah, like to get it from their perspective. Like one of the traders I know, he got out of Ukraine, and he's just telling me, he has his own biased view, and also I try to look at both perspectives, and I have my own take on it. So,
Coach Red Pill, if you're watching, jump on the stream. So he's in Ukraine, right?
Come on, Gonzo Lira.
Yeah.
Well, he used to be one of the best guys in the business, and something happened.
Wait, you mean like in terms of like the dating grifters? Like, wait,
yeah.
He lost.
No, I mean, he actually did have some good information once upon a time.
Is he the guy that said
videos?
Is he the guy that said leave the West, guys, leave the West?
Yeah, now he's in the Ukraine. How's that working out for him?
Oh man, yeah. It's not, I mean, you got to do it smart. Of course, it's like when people say Geomax, but you got to do it smart, man. You got to have contacts. You got to know the area.
Yeah,
like, you always got to play it smart, like, and always play it in a calm manner, not just like rush out of there like with no plan. So.
But the thing is, even people who money max and people who've got status, money, status, and power is nothing but an extension of looks. So let's say the woman looks at all his materialistic possessions, the fleet of luxury cars that he's got, his mansion, his yachts, then even his all the luxury clothes that he wears. The images of these objects gets registered in her mind. The beauty of the images of these objects. She thinks that if she marries him, she'll also be the co-owner of all of this. So again, money and status is nothing but an extension of looks.
Yeah, money honestly should just be viewed as a tool. Just like, okay, it's just enough so where at least you can live peacefully and not like be in desperation mode. And like, I mean, if I had to choose between rich and poor, I'll choose rich every time, man. Are you kidding me? Like, of course. But obviously, don't do it like these grifters, trying to show off and shit. Like, don't be arrogant and shit. Like, Karma's a real bitch, man. So
don't be George Belfort.
I think without looks, life is not possible. Everything depends on visual images. Even if you want to collect data of science
of course,
you need to look at it. Only then you can measure and given the accurate data for everything. Even if you want to look at the stock market, visual images are necessary.
Absolutely.
Without visual images, life is not possible. Everything revolves around visual images.
Yeah, it's not good or bad. It just is, man. That's what the black pill is.
When I started this stream, one of the things I was going to say was, all right, let's just get it on the table right now. Looks matter, and attraction is not a choice. Let's end it there. So,
I have a lot to say to that, but only when we are backstage, not now.
we gotta protect ourselves.
No, on a serious note, on a serious note, like, because like this is live, so there's stuff I want to say, but I can't say here.
I mean, like in essence, like you gotta feel it. Like women, they got a bad bargain right now, because of all the soy boys that we have and stuff. And it's like, it is what it is, and unfortunately, and it's also the system itself. Like, who wants to get married nowadays? Like, I'm being dead serious.
But you just don't get angry with me if I ask you this. I've seen a lot of American women, all right. They look really beautiful in their youth, but they age so horribly. Like when they age,
Cocaine, man, is a hell of a drug. It's legit. Like I have seen so many of them in like these clubs taking cocaine.
Life is hard, man. It's the toll of the life. They take the toll of life because they have to live a hard life. It's not a pleasant life being on your own and struggling through life every single day. And it shows, it starts showing through your face and your body and everything that you
I mean, you guys, I don't know, there's probably a few older guys on the panel like Uncle Guns and Mohammed, Frank Pesci. But do you guys remember like when the Soviet Union failed, basically became Russia, and how it changed, how it got so westernized? It almost seemed like overnight. Nightclubs, shopping, all the fancy stores are there now in Russia. That was a big deal. What do you think? And I'm asking everybody on the panel, what do you think? Like, how has the West influenced Russia into becoming, we'll say, not as superpower as it used to be?
Well, we made them buy into our system.
Mm-hmm.
We sold them the dream of, the American dream, essentially. Gave them access to our markets, gave them access to be consumers with us. And by us crashing, their economy, essentially, we were able to take control over them. And then they became our people. Well, not our people in the sense of like our citizenry, but they became under our control.
Mm-hmm.
And man, the American dream is a hell of a thing. It wasn't that long ago that the United States was involved in wars in the Middle East. And, a lot of this younger generation of these kids, they didn't want to do jihad. They wanted to wear Nikes and jerseys and have iPhones, So when people, and it was said here before, about the power of imagery, when people are able to behold an image, then they're able to, in their own mind, envision themselves in the framework of that image. So, I think that that's what happened to Russia. And because they've had some economic success and because they've had, some national success, they're able to get behind a war effort like this and say, you know what, it is our time. We can do this. We have a strong leader. We have rebuilt our military. We control, resources and so on and so forth. We have alliances. Let us go for it, because now we are no longer under the narrative of the West. We can have and shape and form our own narrative. And this is what we want to do. So,
I mean, would you guys say that, we'll say 20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, everybody wanted to be like America?
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to be westernized.
America's Coca-Cola, man.
Yeah, I mean, it really was. I mean, I remember, being in Italy about 10 years ago in Milan in the Duomo, and the Duomo is like it's basically like a square. There's a big church there. And me and my buddy are sitting at a nice cafe, eating just beautiful Italian food.
Oh, man.
And here, we're sipping on just fantastic espresso and just beautiful pastries and sliced meat, prosciutto. And here we look across, and the funny thing is we both look, and here's, here we're in this just gorgeous cafe and very few people, but we look across and there's like Kentucky Fried Chicken, Taco Bell, and all the other foods, and the lines are coming out the door. Okay, people are waiting in line.
They want that job, man.
People going to the feeding pens, man.
You know what I mean? And here you could have this beautiful, just handmade food, just natural. Like I said, they have, they had the ham right there, and they're slicing off the prosciutto for you, rolling it up with slices of melon, and just.
Tony, I can respond to that. I can tell you what that phenomena is. It's the phenomena of novelty and status symbol, and also curiosity. What is this? And I saw this happen in Pakistan before I left there, somewhere between 2000, 2005. KFC and McDonald's franchises started opening up. and like you would see exactly what you are describing. People would not go to these other joints with fresh food. All that people are queuing up outside McDonald's and KFC. And I went in there. I said, "Geez, man, this is not like what's so great about it." So I went in for the novelty of it, but I quickly flipped back to the original roadside cafes and restaurants, which were way more flavorable. But that's what happens whenever you get a novelty, a new thing, like new outlets of Nike and stuff. People will start flocking there because it's a novelty, and then over next decade or 2 or 3 decades, it starts to fade away gradually. It never goes back to zero. Of course, there will always be fans of KFC and McDonald's, and that's fantastic. But it's no longer a novelty.
Yeah, I had the same exact experience in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
We were driving down the beach for like 25 miles. We drove through a river and a couple rivers, and we get to this little tiny town. And right in the center of this little tiny town, I don't remember. I believe it was a combination of like Kentucky Fried Chicken and Long John Silver's.
Oh,
like,
yeah, one of those.
in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
Thinking, wow, I guess we're not going to have some nice indigenous food today. So, you know,
Brutal.
in the middle of nowhere. That's the second time I experienced that in foreign countries. You know,
No, what actually happened in Russia was after communism collapsed, this Boris Yeltsin came to power. What Boris Yeltsin did was he started recklessly privatizing everything, and like it became a gangster economy. Actually, like the Russian mafia is pretty powerful and ruthless. They were kept in prisons by Stalin and his descendants. They were like the scum of the society. They became very powerful and they started enacting a lot of laws that would favor them. Then what happened was that many government companies started getting privatized, and bank people who were involved with banks, they would get assassinated regularly. And the Russian mafia was ruthless. They would kill women, children. They would kill the family members also as well. They were not merciful. So there was a lot of chaos, and a few oligarchs came into power, and Boris Yeltsin became like a figurehead, like Mikhail Khodorkovsky and that Boris Berezovsky and some other people. They became so corrupt that the country was falling apart. It became like a gangster nation. Then Putin decided he had to play his cards smart. He took power, and then that Yukos bank scandal was there, right? That was the biggest, one of the biggest cases in Russia. Some man from Texas was helping Mikhail Khodorkovsky, a Russian Jew, to run that company. He would have become the richest man in the world. Putin arrested him, put him back in jail, took back Yukos, took back many of the companies that were privatized. Then many of these oligarchs, this Boris Berezovsky, ran off to England. So what happened was that Putin realized that this kind of free market democracy, although it brings prosperity, free market capitalism, it's not ideal for every country. It doesn't work everywhere. So it's like a kind of autocratic capitalism that works over there. You have to prove to Putin that you can do something, then he'll give you some government asset to run over there, all right? So like what happened was that until the 20th century came to an end, it was like an out-of-the-box situation. It was between capitalism and communism. Now that communism has collapsed, it's like every nation for itself. It's like the way things were in the 19th century and early 20th century. The global liberal elites are scared because when nationalism is taken to an extreme, you can again become predatory by nature. That's why they want a one world government. Just like fear took over the minds of people, and they thought that if you have a central bank, you can probably stall this kind of recession and this depression. They thought that if you create a one world government with a lot of rules, you can probably like bring tribalism to an end. So it's just fear playing on the minds of people that's running amok, actually running. That's
they're able to
havoc.
change. They're able to change the people's perception, and once they do that, and they're able to lead to a particular narrative. It's already been chosen for them, like the illusion of choice. You know, perception is a very powerful thing, and a lot of it's not. That's why I look at people that choose a side that's blue or red. I'm like, dude, they want you to think that way. They want you to be pissed off, so they don't see the freaking tyranny that's happening. You know,
they want to make Putin look like they want Putin to be like a wrestling villain or a foreign heel right now.
Yeah,
but he actually saved the country, man. If he would have let it run amok,
he took off the central bank. Russia doesn't even have a central bank. That's why they get pissed at him. You know, they keep challenging him, but Putin knows, you know, psychology. I don't support him because he destroys people. Yeah, he's still ruthless. You know, like, but Slavs they operate differently. You need a strong leader if you're in a Slav country. That's how. We don't respect you if you don't kill people. Like, that's how it goes, man.
No, but even though Russians are whites, they're like the rough and tough version of whites.
Yeah,
they're the guys who they drink the vodka, take their jacket off, chase after you, man.
They have a totally different software and operating system, man. Hardware may be the same, but they operate totally differently.
You know, it's funny. I thought the Germans and Russians were similar in like their stoic, like, you know, when they caricaturize them, like they're very like similar, like very cold. I mean, I'm not sure.
No.
I don't know. I think they're very warm, man. I've met few Russians in Australia.
They're
pretty warm.
At the beginning of the show, just so everybody knows, I am half Italian and half Russian. I don't know.
Oh, I've been to Moscow, and honestly, the Russians are the coolest people I've ever met. They're very. Moscow is just beautiful, man. There's not even like trash there. It's
well,
like
I am an Italian Russian. Just so you guys know.
Is your father Russian or your mother is Russian?
My mother is Russian. My father is Italian.
Well, bro, you about to have a pot of spaghetti and some vodka right now, man?
You can call me Brunoski.
Listen here, comrade.
Yeah.
No wonder why we get along so well. A fellow Slav, half
That's
Slav.
right. Brunoski, you can call.
You're also a Russian. Follow the money.
No, I'm a Balkan. So a Balkan. I'm like an Eastern Slav. So
okay,
gotcha.
Eastern European Jew.
No, I'm not a Jew. You can't call me a Jew.
So the Slavic people are Russian, Ukrainian.
No. We're like Macedonian, like, you know, like Alexander the Great. Yeah. Where we got conquered by the Ottomans, like you know, Dracula, Vladimir. Like he tried. Yeah, Vlad the Impaler. He impaled 800 Ottomans with their heads. Like Balkans were very brutal, man.
So you'd be like Romanian or like Romanian and
no.
Macedonia.
Not even that Macedonia.
Above Greece.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, like,
gotcha.
I mean, like that whole region. You know, there's Serbia, Croatia, Albania,
Deacon Little, what is your nationality?
My nationality, it's
it's like Deacon Little.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I should check them American, but my roots go back. I'm American mutt, but I appear black. You know how it goes.
He black.
Black. Last I checked my soul, I'm supposed to be white. But anyway.
I'm just curious of everybody's nationality.
Yeah.
How about Guns? Uncle Guns?
Mostly French, but you know, mostly French, but mutt everywhere else.
Okay.
You know, a little Italian, and I got the French, and then I got Cajun French on some part, and then
Louisiana,
but mutt everywhere else.
Okay, and then how about Frank Pesci? Italian, we know that.
Italian and Irish.
Italian and Irish. Jesus, I thought Italian Russian was bad.
I'm playing. You're cool,
How about Mohammed?
Thank you.
Yeah, how about Mohammed?
Oh, I'm from Pakistan, so I don't know. Like, if you're asking my caste, that's the Rajputs, which is the rulers who were the rulers and the fighters. Actually, the rulers. But yeah, I'm Pakistani, but like I've got Australian nationality as well. But obviously that was after as a naturalization, as a naturalized citizen. But my kids were born here, so they are like Aussie for all practical purposes. They don't know anything from Pakistan, literally.
But you've got a Muslim name, actually. Rajputs are Hindus, right?
Oh yeah, but like a lot of them converted forcibly or by choice, whatever. So they're Rajputs on the Indian side and they're Rajputs on the Pakistani side. It's the same region, same people, just divided by the
So you follow Islam now or Hinduism?
No, I'm a very, very devout Muslim, practicing Muslim.
Okay.
I can tell you all about the 70 virgins we are promised.
Find out
I
the
mean,
end.
like
Wait a minute.
my family is Muslim too, also. So 72 virgins. Yep.
I don't know where that comes from because there is no mention of that number. I have no idea how that came into
I
all
don't
this.
know. No, it's not 72. It's unlimited actually, but 72 it's unlimited actually.
There is
Got that
no
down.
upper limit.
Forgot about
There is
Muhammad, I forgot about this. Unlimited.
yeah,
799 volume 1.
yeah.
Muhammad Game bonus volume.
Entrepreneur from paradise.
This is why
That's right. And we got a sale for you tonight. That's right. Unlimited virgins. If you leave this planet, $7.99. And we are shipping free tonight, overnight.
Oh my God.
And the bonus is Muhammad Game. That's right.
You know
we're
what?
not
That's-
playing here tonight. So
I would say that's one thing I would definitely say. I'd not say envious of like Europeans and people on the other side. They could trace back their lineage further back. You know, where mine, I'm not sure what, who, how, and when. You know, that's one thing I definitely not with them envy, but it's a lighthearted enviness because they actually can look back on their actual lineage, where they come from, who their people are. You know what? You know where they're exactly from. Something I kind of, you know, maybe that's just my own ignorance, but it, you know, it's what it is.
But
Jay
one thing
Neptune has a great comment. 72 baby mamas. He's like, I'm good.
17
Well, the way
baby mamas.
no, the way the world is going, I wouldn't be paradise if all the virgins up there were single mothers. Actually, when we got there,
Jeez, he's brutal. 72 fat virgins.
Hey,
No.
72 virgins. They didn't say male or female.
Jamer Funk just wants a couple, he says.
Listen, Jammer.
oh,
we already
gender
got.
fluid.
We already,
How about gender fluid?
we already got our influence of Ukrainian women coming this way, so we'll be all right.
John says
Oh, geez.
72 virgins. Yeah, that's believable.
What? Hey, guys, what do you think? Not to like take that, you know, like as a
He says give me 72 sleuths instead. Oh, that's just great.
Guns dropped off.
That's just God, this is just killing me. I got something to play just for you then. Just for you, John. Here we go. Where is it? Here it is.
All righty, boys. All righty.
And one more.
The white, the black, the yellow, and brown. Walk right in, lay your money down, and fuck the night away. All righty, boys. All righty.
That dude is freaking awesome.
Yeah, Lux
Just
Maximus.
a little Lux Maximus for you guys.
Who was that? Sorry, I don't know who that guy was.
Lux Maximus.
That's Lux
Looks.
That dude is so base. Ridiculous.
The guy's awesome.
I tell everybody, do not look up Lux Maximus on YouTube. Actually do. He's quite he's actually informative when it comes to like the Romans, and he's not a dumb guy. Just actually very educated. Just quite
major historian.
Yeah, and it is entertaining. He had a stream last night that was they're just classic. That's all I got to say. Find out for yourself. That's all I can say.
Check out the unboxing videos.
He's a misker off the bodybuilding forums. I remember he had very elaborative posts, man. Very highly intelligent guy and just hilarious, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I keep forgetting to tell this. If you've got a sex addiction problem, like if I know many incels will be there who've got a sex addiction problem.
Totally me.
Yeah, like most of them. Don't do any physical activities. You'll make your body even more. You'll age your body more. You'll damage your body more. Don't go to the gym if you've got a sex addiction problem.
But the slave cunny, bro. It's like that Lux Maximus. He takes his balls to the wall, man.
No, I'm just saying if you've got a sex addiction problem and you go to the gym, you'll be tearing your body even more. When you work.
Oh
out,
yeah.
Yeah, you're losing semen, right? It's a vital fluid. So when you do push-ups, pull-ups, and all that, you're harming your body more. Your strength of the immune system will decrease further.
Where do you come up with these theories, man?
Yeah, I don't know where you got that from.
So you guys know,
No,
Just
man,
so
I'm
you
serious.
guys know, let me just say something real quick. I very rarely watch Lux Maximus, okay?
Little Woody Johnson, Tony Bruno.
No way.
You got shouted out, the both of them.
So
no, it's a serious thing. If anyone see what happens is that people, when they don't get any woman, they'll be frustrated. So even when they sleep, they'll have night falls and they lose semen, or they'll be masturbating, or guys who are involved with who have sex orgies or who enjoy women. They should not go to the gym. They can eat meat quickly to recover their tissues, but if they go to the gym, they'll harm their bodies more.
So your solution is semen retention?
Yeah, if the person cannot retain his semen and he goes to the gym to work out, he'll age his body faster.
Oh man. Again, this is a discussion for backstage. There is so much I want to say, but I can't say it live.
No, man, it's very serious. Actually, it's not funny. You'll deplete your bone marrow.
I got 8 words. Get the fuck out of here with that.
I got 99 problems, Azvaroon, but that ain't one.
Right.
But not that. I mean,
so Varun, tell me.
I do calisthenics and PT all day. I eat steak and I fuck like a horse. Fuck out of here with that bullshit.
Varun, question. What happens to the seminal fluid when you retain it? Does it flow back, go into your brain transmitters and starts working in the brain, or gives strength to the muscle? What is your theory? What it does?
Overall, actually, the bone marrow has the stem cells. All right. What happens is that the skeletons actually form a bridge between the physical body and the astral body. The foundation of the bone marrow is the semen. And then, the foundation of the bone is the bone marrow, and the foundation of bone marrow is semen.
It was a matter of time.
The foundation of semen is ojas,
Christ Almighty.
So Varun, bone marrow makes blood cells. It has got nothing to do with sperm creation.
But the stem cells actually are in the bone marrow. When you lose semen,
those stem cells. Those stems, Varun, those stems are totally different compared to the germinal cells.
Not that. What happens is that actually, your bone
Woody Johnson.
What about if I read my tarot cards? Will that increase my testosterone or what?
No,
I mean,
what
the fuck?
Not that. You just look at Mike Tyson when he was on NoFap with Casamato always being strict with him, and you look at him when he started enjoying women and he started taking drugs, how his performance went down. You just take a look at that, and even Nikola Tesla,
he was frustrated from not having sex.
He was angry.
Yeah,
but he was a fighter though.
He was knocking people's heads off.
The classic fighter move, not to have sex before a fight. So.
Yeah, but when he was on semen retention, he said he wasn't allowed to have sex for 5 years. That time he was a beast in the ring.
Oh, just says you're capping, Azvaroon.
Oh, gee. Dude, if you're gonna do that to Tyson, it's like doing to a pit, making sure a pit bull doesn't eat.
Look,
no,
man,
but not that man.
Azvaroon is on a different plane, man. Different plane.
30, if you look at it, they say after 30, the body's ability to recover and all that start decreasing. It's not because you've turned 30 or 35 or 40. It's because you're losing semen and you're ejaculating constantly. You'll start aging also in appearance. It's a vital fluid. If without semen, you can't even procreate, right? It's not something
zinc. We're losing that zinc, man. We got to inject more zinc.
You're so full of shit. It's funny.
It's not shit, man. It's actually, it makes you prone to a lot of diseases. It ages you as well. And your performance in the
show your fucking receipts. Shut up.
Well,
Varun, see, I understand what
Tony slings dick all week, and look at the man. He's fucking jacked at 59. Fuck out of here with that.
Yeah.
But he's aged in appearance, man. Why doesn't he look like a
dude, everybody ages in appearance, dude. What are you talking about?
You haven't seen Tony's receipts, man. Legendary.
Yeah, but one thing is, like, the way you look when you're 16, if you want to look like that exactly and you want to be youthful and strong and not have any diseases, the best thing to do is actually to avoid sex, all right? But that no one can do. But
no.
But indulging in sex
the biggest thing is just to be calm and relaxed. And Tony's one of the most calm and relaxed people I know. It's like,
yeah, but
he's generally happy. He doesn't fake it.
So if someone did not have, so what about the kids who have not even started to make semen, but they die of cancers, they die at age of 2 years or 3 years?
See, that is
how do they die?
They die because that's another topic actually. But I'm saying, let's say you're
They've
going
not
to
had
live
any
a
sex.
No, but the semen comes out actually. Like I have wet dreams.
How does you remember you had wet dreams when you were 1.5 years old? Is that what you're telling me?
No, but not that. I'm just saying I've seen actually even
We need to have this discussion backstage so that I can really take this on, because I can't do it live.
But one thing is it's actually it's very serious. You will start aging rapidly, and it will start leading to hair loss. It will start making your skin sag. Your performance also in the gym will
If
come
your
down.
theory was correct, Varun, I would have died by the time I was 20.
I think
Because
as Varun,
because it's the body, it's a vital fluid. It shouldn't be wasted actually for.
But as Varun, you know, Lux Maximus is like in his late 30s to 40s, and he's on trend testosterone. He's just going all out, man, and
he's having fun.
Yeah, the biggest thing, honestly, is controlling your stress, being a calm and a collective matter, and being happy. The more you're not in stress, the more you don't build up inflammation in your body, and also don't be exposed to the sun too long. Don't eat like shit, and hope you have good genetics. It's that simple, man.
Yeah, that is there. But when you eat food, also, this is one more thing. The sun's rays are very intense in the morning from 10 to 2 o'clock. All right, that is the
Woody Johnson.
He's an actual doctor who's seen these things.
But I've seen this thing too, dude. Like if you actually.
So here's a question. If your theory is correct, then kids who have had no sex, nobody of the kids should die at 1 or 2 years of age from a cancer or some other disease. So how do they die? Because they've not had any sex.
Regarding death, actually, see, every human being, when they're born on this planet, they have a fixed lifespan, all right? When they're going
so
to
then
die,
it's not testosterone then. Then it's not testosterone. It's a fixed lifespan.
Yeah, but that is fixed lifespan. But the loss of semen will lead to failing health.
What is loss of semen?
Can't anymore.
It is
okay. I think we've okay.
Yeah.
There is no secret passage. Varun, there is no secret tunnel that goes from bone marrow to testicles or penis. I'm trying to explain that to you.
I'm telling you this. There are many yogis.
Woody Johnson.
Many yogis have practiced yoga.
We got the new meme going right now. Good one.
Many yogis, because of practicing semen retention for a very long time, have actually prolonged their lives, and they've crossed 100 as well. And they look very young, even though they've crossed 100.
Because you're not getting laid.
Yeah, that's what.
There, I said it.
Yeah, it's a very important thing.
Let me just rein this in here. What does any of this semen retention have to do with Putin? Do you think?
I gotta ask this to Varun. Do you think Putin is on semen retention?
Not on semen retention, but I just like you're talking about the black pill, right? I just gave it as an extension to that.
We really need to have a close session behind, like backstage, which is not on live, but yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Oh my God!
And even Nikola Tesla used to get those good ideas because he used to practice semen retention as well. He created a lot of.
We don't know that. We don't know that. He only said stay away from. Look.
Stay away from women, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he wasn't using his hand to get rid of his desires. That's a separate thing.
Yeah, we don't know what Nikola Tesla did, but then again, he was a weirdo, man. He was
beyond anything, man.
He was making love to fucking pigeons and shit. Like, come on, man. Nikola Tesla was like the greatest thing Yugoslavia ever made, man. Like that guy is savant.
He was from beyond, man. He was from beyond.
He is a legend, man. And
science.
But honestly, I mean, it's no wonder, man.
And he did say, "Hey, money." Just to give one point, he did say that he was able to do this because he did not pay attention to women, because getting involved with women would take his focus away. But that's like an exception. Most men are not like that.
Yeah.
So exceptions are not examples. He was an exceptional guy, man.
Yeah, savants, they you know, like they're on a different level. Like
Absolutely.
yeah, and he was, you know, we could have been living with free energy, you know, electric cars
Yep.
back then.
You
But
never know.
but the real JP Morgan said, nope,
Yep.
we can't put a
Yep.
meter on this shit. And
Yep.
then we're stuck in this like debt-based system.
Yep.
God, man.
But if you really want true freedom or something, if you want to be free from eating itself, there was one more person. His name, I've lost contact with him. His name was Bob. All right, he was an American. He knew a person who had done semen retention, and he used to put a copper coin on his head, and used to even do this kind of Trataka system. Then his body got energized by only taking energy from the sun, and he was.
Well, that's because the coom is backing up, and that's what he's eating.
Yeah, but he stopped eating itself.
Eat your coon for a higher IQ. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like you see, when you don't need to eat, economics won't make any sense for you. People like us who are still dependent on food, for us, economics and charts and all that makes sense. When you go beyond eating and go beyond sex, why will you need economics?
I mean, but here's the thing, Varun, we have to live it. We have to live on this earth, right? We have to live in the now,
and not in a cave.
I understand,
and not in a cave somewhere.
Yeah, I understand that you're thinking like spiritually, but still, man, we're on this physical earth, and we have to do what's best right now.
I know. I'm just saying, people who can control their sexual urges, who don't need women, they can do these kind of exercises that can take them beyond the need to eat. They can energize their body through sunlight. Then when they are free from eating itself, and they're free from the requirements of pleasing the sexual organ, they won't be bogged down with the system.
Photosynthesis, really?
Yeah, seriously. This guy,
really?
An American guy himself was in touch with this guy. I lost touch with him. He used to stay in my area. He knew this guy who had done this technique where he would look at the sun wearing a copper coin and absorb its rays. After
you have no proof of anything you're shitting. Any all that shit that's coming out of your mouth might sound really fucking good if you actually knew what the fuck you were talking about.
I'm not talking.
Alrighty, boys. Alrighty.
Talking about
good timing.
I mean, as we're like, we don't fucking know, man. I mean, I tried semen retention. I just got even more angrier, you know.
Yeah,
I think
it makes you angry. It makes you more frustrated. But you have
more
to do breathing
aggressive
techniques to calm your.
I mean, I guess.
Hey, Varun, whatever you're smoking, it's good stuff, man.
What good stuff? I'm just.
You got
good stuff.
Wait,
man.
as Varun, have you been on
I'm gonna
the
say you got
stream?
out of six people on the panel, you got 5 coomers and 1 non-coomer.
Oh man,
Rudy Johnson.
Cool, brothers. Cool.
Photosynthel.
Oh god. Anyway, let's change the topic, man. I think
Yeah, I agree. Let's just move on. But as Varun, this is just for you right here. Just for you.
The white, the black, the yellow, and brown. Walk right in, lay your money down, and fuck the night away.
yeah, that's interesting way of saying everything with
Dude is awesome, man.
That's great, man. Anyways, let's get back on topic. We got done talking about cooming, and let's get back to Putin and not cooming. So I want to kind of go around the panel real quick, and I'm going to give you my let's do this. Let's make some predictions. Okay. I'm going to make a prediction on what's going on, and this is what I see right now. And I think what my prediction is going to be is that I see I'm going to throw this out there, and I say that the Ukraine is going to be in a world of shit for about the next 2 years. And that's my prediction. So I want to go to Shift next and get his prediction on this.
What I think, usually I think like economically, I think there's definitely Ukraine is going to be in a tough situation, and I think in terms of like how the media is going to propagate it, I think we're going to pass it. We're going to find some other disaster that's going to grip us. and we're just going to forget what's going on with Ukraine, because there needs to be there's always got to be a new narrative that's going to be passed on, and unfortunately I feel bad for the people there, and the families that got separated and stuff. It's always terrible. Hopefully it doesn't lead to a hot war, but I think after a couple of weeks we're going to forget about it, but there's still going to be conflict over there.
Yeah. I just really don't think a couple of weeks is gonna handle it. I think this is bigger than what people think it is. I really do. I don't think the media is doing a great job of covering it. I think they're looking for something. Again, we talk about distractions, but I don't think it's a distraction. I think it's real life, and I think this is going to be life-changing even in the West. So, but let's go to Deacon Little on what he thinks.
What I think is, it's going to take a while for it to get over. It's kind of like a festering pimple. It may pop off to something, it may not. They may not join NATO. I mean, because I've heard other rumors. They were saying they were former not sorry to use that term on the street, but they were saying they were hiding out there. Some weird stuff. It's just, I'm gonna try and stay away from the mainstream news because I had questions. But I personally believe if it does get big, I mean, we'll see. But right now, it may take a while after this one because they just literally bombed the place. So I mean, let's lead us a prayer. Let's stay out. My prayer is let's stay out of what they're doing. If they bring the noise here, then it's a problem. But we can't continue with. We're not in the back of the days with Theodore Roosevelt trying to police everybody. It's going to get to a point where we can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can give a moment of silence, 10 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we can do that. I will go to Mohammed. Let's go around the panel, and then a moment of silence.
I think obviously nobody can predict with 100% certainty what will happen, but in my estimation, what will happen is whatever area Putin has invaded and controlled and taken over control of, he might go a little bit further or not. He may relinquish a little bit just to satisfy the world demands, but they are there. They've taken over and they are not going back to pre-invasion borders period, because this was to prevent that NATO whatever thing. And it's not, Russia is not going to reverse it completely. They might go a little bit back, just take a few steps back to satisfy the demands, but that is it. But who knows what happens really.
As Varun, what's your prediction?
I think actually the Nazis were really defeated by the Russians. The Russians suffered the most. They actually tore the belly of the beast. Because of some misunderstanding, this enmity between Russia and the US simply continued and skyrocketed. They should actually stop this enmity for once. And regarding Ukraine, what happens is that since it's close to Russia, they have the right to do what they want to do because their national interests are at stake. Other countries that are simply crying about democracy, where there are no national interests at stake, should not get involved in this. You should not get involved in other people's problems. This is not like some major catastrophe. He's just doing it to protect his national interest. That's it. It was bound to happen.
Excellent. Appreciate it. Let's go to Uncle Comrades.
I think, I think it's what I said earlier. I think he'll get what he wants. He'll go into Ukraine. He'll install his regime, and this thing's over in a couple weeks. That's what I think.
Okay. All right. Well, let's do this. The chat, anybody who is, I'm asking you now to just kind of reach out to your faith, and we're going to give a moment of silence for the people in the Ukraine and the people in Russia, both, because both are suffering. And that's a fact. We can look at what Putin's doing, and you know what? Putin is suffering also. I mean, that's a fact. So the best thing we can do is do a little moment of silence here for everybody, and we'll take a few minutes, and that's it. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight and checking us out here. I think it was a really great discussion. We did have a little fun near the end, and that's always important to kind of break the intensity of the conversation. But I do want to tell everybody in the chat, man, appreciate all your guys' comments and a lot of respect to the chat. I will always say I love that term that the chat is undefeated. And that's a fact here most of the time anyways. But everybody in the chat, Runaway Train, Woody Johnson, of course, Caduceus, Vital Message, Self-Made, good to see you. Ojit, always good to see you. Uncle Guns in the chat. Gamer Guy, I don't want to miss anybody. Peg Bell was in here. Jamer Funk. Jay Neptune, Outnumbered. Luigi the Phoenician, good to see you. Tuesday, always good to see you. I don't want to miss anybody here. A lot of people were in tonight, but I really do appreciate everybody coming. There's a lot of things you can do, when I stream on a Thursday or Saturday, but you chose to spend time with us, and I hope that you got some value from the discussion. All the guys who jumped on the panel tonight, man, much love, honor, and respect to all of you. And we're going to continue this backstage, but appreciate everybody. And I'll probably see you on Thursday night. Hopefully I'll have a special guest. I've got a few good ones lined up, but yeah, appreciate all of you. And we're going to rock it on out of here. That's for sure. So cheers, everybody. And again, thanks for coming. Appreciate everybody.
Not everybody.
Cheers.
Darkness is your ally. You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but blinding.
Пытался помешать нам, а тем более создать угрозы для нашей страны, для нашего народа, должны знать, что ответ России будет незамедлительным и приведет вас к таким последствиям, с которыми вы в своей истории